Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Freaky Fast Broadcasting on your Monday night. No, it's been a while, but we're back to racing action for the Trinity Racing League, presented by Larry Arts Production. Season 1 has given us such an up and down look of how this Xfinity car can race. With a brand new league, we finally have made it to our chase. Drivers have been set after last week's drama and flair. Ollie Fonseca finding himself in victory lane. He found his way into the chase as 16 other drivers, including Ollie, are now in the hunt of who will hoist the championship for Season 1 of the Trinity Racing League. Certainly a lot of drama we're going to break down in just a few moments about last week's race that sadly we weren't able to give you the coverage of. But tonight, to start out the chase, it is the first race of 5. Whoever's got the most points by the end of these 5 race stint will become the Season 1 champion. As we find ourselves here at Talladega, what a racetrack to start things off. And once again, we're excited to give you the coverage here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. My name is Sam Dyer. With me is Zach Hall. And Zach, certainly a interesting race the drivers had last week at Chicagoland to finish out the regular season. And it's now propelled us to this point where we've got 16 drivers hunting for a championship.
Yeah, it was a wild and controversial into the regular season. So what can we expect for this chase now? I mean, it is a lot on the line. Everybody here knows this is where everything is important. Everything counts. You know, you got the reset of points if you're able to make it into that chase, and you better use that reset wisely, because if not, you start tonight on a bad foot and you've already, a couple points behind. You'll quickly make that gap a pretty big amount, and with no stage points available, you can't climb those major gaps like you can. You got to really be consistent, and I think that's what's going to be the major thing when we start this chase here, is who can be the most consistent driver. And what a place to start the chase for that too, at Talladega. I mean, this place is going to be all about making it through all the mess that is going to probably occur here tonight on track.
Setting the tone early here this evening, as you're going to see the drivers that have made it into the chase are going to be having green banners and splitters and spoilers for their vehicles. I know already one of them doesn't, and that's Joshua Kanata, who forgot to put it on for himself. But for this chase, we've got Talladega to start things off. Charlotte going to be race number 2. Richmond race number 3. Auto Club going to be number 4. And finishing things all off at Las Vegas. We're getting a good sense of all the different styles of racetracks, except for road courses, which I think, Zach, for some drivers, they're excited to hear that others, that's a track style that they were kind of hoping maybe to see in the chase that they're not going to have to worry about.
Kind of think a few would have liked to see that on the schedule, knowing the opportunities to gain major points on your competition there. But, with that out, with kind of thrown out the window, I think it does kind of make the picture less clear. It makes it more open to more drivers, so it's going to be really, really interesting scenes here to see, first off, how you start your night here at Talladega, because it can be so crucial to get your foot in the right direction. Instead of taking a step back to start, you want to kind of take that step forward and be on the prowl, because if not, you're going to be very, very in a tough situation when you get farther down throughout these races, having to try to close in a gap that may be too big.
As one of the drivers is hoping the gap that he's built out after winning the regular season championship will hold. Vincent Sora, after a pure dominating regular season, winning half of the races ran. He found himself winning 5 out of the 10 races this season, 6 top 5, 6 top 10s. Maybe I wish he had a little bit more on those top 5s and top 10s, but showing some great dominance this season. He's hoping to carry on with that momentum. The only other driver to have multiple wins this season, Jackson Anderson, who went on a tear in the second half of the season to make his march to have his wins, make him eligible to be locked in to the playoffs. I mean, Zach, Anderson, one of the newer drivers that we kind of have seen here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. This is a driver that's kind of shocking a lot of people of, watch out, he could be the threat for the championship.
He really could be. I mean, the stretch he put there at the end, it was kind of a lackluster, mediocre start for him at the beginning of the season. But once he got that win under his belt, it was kind of momentum that just trended through each and every race. And he showed, a fight with really the top drivers in this series, of Vincent Sora and such. He really put a fight up to them. So it is going to be very interesting to see with this reset now, what can he do. But the thing I think is going to be important for him, consistency. you can be aggressive, you can race really hard, but if you get caught up in too many things with too many different drivers, it will have an effect on your overall consistency and where you finish these races. So I think if the '08 can kind of stay under the radar, but also bring that same speed and intensity, it's going to be very important for him.
And the other 3 races that were won by Jarrett Talmadge. Also, Justin T. Campbell got into victory lane. Then last week's winner, Ali Fonseca. Controversial win. Teammate of Ali Fonseca, Cody Reed, deciding to influence the end of the race by intentionally slowing down, then to block for the 24 to help him win last week. It was a duel between Ali Fonseca and Chris Stitz at the end after some major mistakes by Vincent Sora in pit road that kind of threw away his chances of going into victory lane for his 6th time this season. But for Ali Fonseca, he takes the win. Cody Reed, he takes a massive penalty. The 88 machine will start out here tonight with an L3. That is an end-of-the-line penalty drive-through, as well as a 15-point deduction from his playoff points entering into the chase. That's going to be a tough pill to swallow. He, as Cody Reed, gonna have to start at the end of the line, as well as that drive-through, dock those 15 points. He's gonna have a rough one here tonight. Another driver that was penalized, Jarrett Talmadge, was given an end-of-the-line penalty. Both drivers able to qualify. We'll see how well they can place themselves in the best pit stall to start here tonight. As we take a look at the 51, Ben Keeney, who's not in the chase, but part of the team 81, is going to be trying to get a little bit of speed up there if possible. I know for Ben, he is a driver that these super speedways are his best chance to have a career day.
It definitely is the best place where he'll have an opportunity to go out there and fight for something possibly really, really big for him. So this could be a very interesting scene for Ben Kinney, but he's also got teammates that will be fighting in the playoffs or in the chase along with him. So maybe he could go out there and help the likes of Joshua Kanata. And we know Cedric Hunter, of course, not here tonight, but always could be in help to that 16 possibly, and that could be huge for Kanata to have someone like that. So let's see what Ben Kinney can do. He had an interesting start to that lap. He dropped down a lot earlier than I thought he was going to. So we'll see if that's just the way to go with the Xfinity car, but he lets it drift out a little bit down the back straightaway. So maybe looking to carry that momentum.
Yeah, I know a lot of different drivers trying some different techniques with Talladega being the bigger of the three super speedway tracks, we could say, from Atlanta super speedway style to Daytona, and Talladega being a 2.66 mile course. Some drivers feel like lap 1 is the more important lap because of the heat that you put in the tires after that first lap that you put in. Some drivers want to go for that first lap to be their money time. Others believe that it's the second lap that you're still aiming for. And for Ben Kinney, he's aiming for this first lap to be his key lap to try to set the tone early, as other drivers are kind of throwing away their first lap. A 54.621 for Ben Kinney. Fastest currently by over half a second over Stitz and Sora, but those two drivers aiming for lap 2. That could be their money lap.
It's like maybe the likes of Isaac Reimer maybe had somewhat of an attempt on his first lap. We'll see what he does on the second, but definitely a lot of guys throwing away that first lap. We'll see if that second lap comes around to be the big momentum lap for those drivers. So it's always the age-old question: is it the first or is it the second lap? That even applies to super speedway. So it's always fun to watch the differences and the different techniques. I mean, like we saw with Kenny there, he drifts out in the back straightaway. What that is doing, folks, is trying to just relieve a little bit of wheel scrub. When you turn those wheels to the left or to the right, you're scrubbing the front tires on the ground, just causing more drag and more friction. So anytime you can use a little bit less wheel, let the car drift out in areas, it'll be better. As looks like that time machine getting lit up right now. As I was about to say Ethan Delaire to the top of the board, Michael Miller, and now Vincent Sora.
3 thousandths of a second over Chris Stitz. Give it to Vincent Sora, a 54.488 over Stitz's 54.491. Joshua Kanata going to be coming up shy, but Eric Krolick out of nowhere, the 01, wants to show his timing. Martin Morales, Nolan Hicks. It's just a show of who can top the board now, as that hot lap designs fastest lap keeps showing up, as everyone is trying to surge to take the Blazing Fast TV pole award. And Jarrett Talmadge, Ali Fonseca, Ryan Kelly all shooting to the top, but it's the 27 who will have an end-of-the-line penalty to start this race off. Currently your pole sitter at the time.
What a time from him. I mean, you normally see like thousandths of a second separating drivers, and I mean, it's kind of like that from second on back to like 6. It's only a couple hundredths of a second. I mean, Jarrett Talmadge has 6 hundredths of a second over these guys, and that's a ton out of super speedway.
It certainly is, and drivers that Talmadge has raced with. I mean, Thomas Green, he falters all the way to 11th, Vincent Sora in 12th. I mean, some of those drivers that he's really learned a lot of techniques from, nowhere close to where this 27 found the wicked pace, as there's only a few other drivers still out on track to try to set a time, but drivers not going to put a time in. Cody Reed, Dakota Moniz, they will start at the end of the line here tonight with no time, as Stovall practicing his way into pit road. Austin Halsey as well as Justin Smith don't have enough time. It's going to be your pole sitter going to the 27 of Jared Talmadge, taking your Blazing Fast TV pole award. If you want to check out more content from Blazing Fast TV, head on over to YouTube and Twitch to see the point of view of Dakota Moniz as he races as well as plays other games. Check out and remember to subscribe to both his Twitch and YouTube at Blazing Fast TV. Congratulations to that 27 grabbing his pole here this evening for Talmadge. That will be his third pole of the season. And Zach, what a time to hit it. That's a bonus point for the 27 as we take a look at our point standings as the drivers have a 5-minute warm-up period to get a little bit of practice in. As we take a look at where the drivers start out here for the first race of the chase. Top 16 made it in, and we did have a tiebreaker at the end of last week's Chicagoland race between Aaron Krolick and Ryan Bird. Krolick taking the advantage over Ryan Bird, so the 01 going to be in the chase. But Zach, we look at the top of the board, it's Vincent Sora, Jared Talmadge, but it's third place runner Cedric Hunter already on the back foot. He's missing here tonight.
Yeah, that is huge. I mean, he comes in here with the third most points already, only 7 back from leader Vincent Sora, and he is going to be missing tonight. That is just going to be a big, big blow to his season. I mean, more or less, I think he's going to be not probably gunning for a championship, probably trying to gun for the best position possible. If he could get top 5 in points after all missing race, I think that would be a victory in his mind's eye. But the rest of these drivers, all super close once you look behind Hunter. I mean, it's 1 point down from there, 1 to the next. So it's pretty much single digits separating pretty much drivers from 4th on back.
And Cody Reed was supposed to be just 14 points back, but due to being penalized after the way that he influenced the end of Chicagoland, he's going to be 29 points back from Vincent Sora. He's going to need a win, and he's going to need a lot of help of other drivers having misfortunes in these upcoming races to hunt for that championship for the 88 machine. But surprising note of some drivers that were missing out. I mean, kind of crazy to see the likes of Ryan Kelly not in there, Michael Miller not making it to the chase, nor Gavin Rogers, all missing out. As we move on and take a look at our schedule again, I kind of did a rundown of what the schedule is looking like. We've got here tonight at Talladega, Charlotte, Richmond, Auto Club, Las Vegas. Zach, a pretty stout upcoming couple of tracks that we have in front of us.
It is very interesting set of tracks. You know, it's kind of hits everything in it except for, I would say, a road course like we were talking about. I mean, so it hits every other type of track that's possibly out there, a short to intermediate style track, and even that bigger step up at Auto Club. So I'm excited to see who's going to pull it all off, because it is definitely 5 tracks that will test every skill set these drivers have.
I know we didn't go down our pick-ums of who we felt like were drivers that we feel like are those that can win here tonight. But Zach, I mean, entering tonight, we've got a lot of championship hopefuls. Looking at the list of the chase again, of those that are inside, who are some of those underdog drivers that you're looking at of potential watch-out drivers for this chase that we have so far?
You know, it's definitely interesting to see. You know, I think it's going to be important to get the right foot for a lot of those drivers that are farther back, and maybe even like a breakout from a Joshua Stovall tonight, I think is possible, because we've seen him be very, very good at these style of tracks. I mean, he could be a factor in all of it said and done tonight. So I think the one right here could start off just really, really strong with how aggressive he is on these super speedways.
Another driver, you got number 1. I'm gonna go with number 2. That's gonna be Stephen Clapp. I'm curious on what this machine's gonna have. Steven went with the opposite approach of a lot of drivers. coming into this season, that was just survive, make it to the end. Because there's no stage racing, having good finishes has rewarded this 2 machine to make it into the chase. He hasn't been really a flashy driver, but here tonight, he says he wants to get up front. He wants to show out and see what he can do. He's just proud that he made it into the chase here in his first season, and I'm excited to see what the 2 has to start out the chase here at Talladega. And then our very own Robert Moyer Jr. running production in the background. He's got Joshua Kanata as his driver to watch out for, and I'm not surprised. This 16, he's found his way into victory lane here at Talladega in our past Monday night series. Same for Stovall. Can they find a little bit of magic here at Talladega? And Zach, there's so many memorable moments when we think about this track. The almost identical times coming across the line. I know Cody Reed had a spectacular one, stealing a win away from you. We've seen some other wild finishes of drivers coming off of turn 4, being back in 20th and somehow winning this race. There is so much opportunity here at Talladega for every driver that showed up here tonight.
I always think the fun thing at Talladega is just how they decided to move the line, from the where it would be normal, the dog leg of the track there in the front tri-oval, but they move it farther down, and it always makes the finishes that much better. So, I mean, I'm not surprised to have all those classic finishes we've had here on Freaky Fast at this iconic track.
Another driver I want to throw out for a name, Nolan Hicks, a driver who's just had some misfortunes, but has been very strong at the intermediate courses. We'll see if he can start out the chase as well strong here tonight. As practice is over, qualifying's over, the warm-up has just concluded. All that's left is the featured race here tonight. We want to say thank you once again for joining with us here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. You're watching the Trinity Racing League presented by Larry Arts Production as we take a look at our Orchid Ink Tattoo Studios starting grid. Head on over to Orchid Ink Tattoo Studios on Instagram for your one-stop shop to check out their custom full-color tattoos, stickers, paints, and more. As taking your Blazing Fast TV pull award goes to the 27 of Jarrett Talmadge, his 3rd pull of the season, making him the driver with the most pulls so far. To his outside, going to be Jackson Anderson, Ollie Fonseca in 3rd. Ollie will move up as being the driver in 3rd place. Jarrett does have a penalty that he has to go to the end of the line, so Ollie will be in that front row, but behind will be in 4th place Ryan Kelly. Larry Yingling will be in 5th. Nolan Hicks 6th. 7th goes to Mark Morales. Ryan Ferraro 8th. 9th is Aaron Kralik, and finishing out the top 10, Maurice Gomillion in the 94. Starting out with a great qualifying run.
Starting in the 11th position, it's good to see Thomas Green back out here tonight. Alongside him will be his teammate Aventasor in the 15. As our points leader, he's going to look for a good start tonight. Last week, just coming up short, he's going to start 13th tonight, is Chris Stitz. Joshua Stovall, my pick, is going to start back here in 14th, with Robert's pick, Joshua Kanata, going to start back in 15th. And then Sam's going to be in 16th, and Stephen Clapp. So we picked them all right around each other, of course. 17th is going to be the Ada Noah Steele. Starting 18th, a great qualifying here is Mark Labertone. Starting 19th is going to be the 77 Isaac Reimer, and rounding out the top 20 is the 99 of Michael Miller.
In 21st, it's going to be the 85 of Samuel S. Garcia. 22nd position is the 66 of Justin Campbell. Ethan Dallaire will be starting in 23rd for the 22 machine. Austin Halsey in the 84 will start in 24th with Justin Smith in 25th. Ben Giddy 26th, and the 2 drivers that did not set a time, Cody Reed and Dakota Moniz. Again, once again, Cody Reed in a tough spot due to his race manipulation tactics last week. He finds himself having to do an EOL start at the end of the line. On top of that, a drive-through penalty. And Zach, I was talking to Cody. He was trying to figure out how he wanted to deal with this scenario, and there was a talking point of he was thinking about maybe talking to his teammates to try to help him out. Based on where Ollie is and where some of the other drivers are, I don't know how much help Cody's going to be seeing here on this drive-through penalty that he has.
Yeah, that's a tough thing to do, especially put their points on the line too because you never know. I mean, there's no stages. If this thing goes green, that is worst case scenario. That is where you really get really worried. But we'll see how Reed attacks this. I mean, definitely a tough situation to be in here to start your chase, but he's gonna have to figure it out here very, very quickly once this green flag drops. What is going to be the optimal way to do this, because it's possibly going to be having to go a lap down, I think, and just try to survive and stay on the lucky dog.
As tonight's race, 90 laps in total, halfway bonus point. That's just 1 bonus point. There's a driver that leads at the end of lap 45. No fast repairs, 4 extra sets of tires to work with here tonight. And Zach, I mean, we look at this field, there's so many drivers that we've seen have success at super speedways. I'm just curious on what the tempo is going to be. It's always curious when you go to a super speedway race. Everyone knows it's those final 5 laps where the chaos really erupts. But there's sometimes drivers forget that there's about 85 other laps they need to do and they start out too aggressive. Do you feel like tonight, with it being the start of the chase, the aggression level is at a new level of just being too high, or are we hoping for a little bit more of a calm down start to tonight?
I think it's tough sometimes. I think a lot of these drivers with this package kind of get baited into driving a little bit harder because you almost get bored, and you know how much drafting you can do in these cars. The draft is so powerful. The side draft is so powerful. So you can do big things and make big things happen very quickly. But sometimes you got to hold back the reins on that horse. You can't go full speed right at the beginning. But I know a lot of these drivers, they kind of lose that whole mentality once that green flag drops out the window. So we'll see if they can manage that. But it's going to be pretty interesting in my opinion.
In the chat, it's just full of UPS fans all rooting for that one machine of Joshua Stovall starting back in 14th position in the Hornet's Nest, the middle of the chaos. But up front, it's going to be last week's winner, Ollie Fonseca on the inside, Jackson Anderson to the outside. We're ready for all the racing action here tonight. You're watching the Trinity Racing League presented by Larry Art Productions. Season 1, it's gonna be chase racing action as the wide open throttle supply 240 is underway. We are green as we roar down into turn number 1. The middle of the field all trying to get up to speed as quickly as they can, but everyone's stacked 2 by 2 as we roar down into turn number 1.
Great start from everybody. Like you said, it's pretty much 2 by 2 all the way through this entire field. As you can see, both lines so equal in pace, but down the back straightaway, we'll see if that outside line can gain the momentum. The push from Ryan Kelly to Jackson Anderson looks like it is starting to prevail.
There was expected to be potentially 29 drivers starting here tonight. Only 28 were able to take the green as Jackson Anderson, Ryan Kelly automatically take the top spot. They're going to be to the inside, leading the front row. Nolan Hicks seeing the number 10 right behind him of Ryan Ferraro trying to give a push. And finding the space, was hearing some drivers talk about how they felt like the front bumper maybe had a little bit of extra tape. As heading into pit road will be Cody Reed in the 88. He has no friends, no allies. It is just solely him. As across the line, Anderson will lead lap number 1. But Zach, a lot of rumbling, bump tracking. Your front end, you got to be careful not to expire your engine if you're not paying attention.
That is very, very true. Sometimes the tape settings can be a little bit different each time you come to this track, and it can allow where some drivers are the car's gonna heat up than previous times, and you gotta watch those gauges because you can quickly blow up a motor here, and it can happen in this very beginning. It doesn't matter how long the race has been going on, you gotta pay attention to that thing. So it's all about management of that throughout these runs, and especially when it comes down to the end of these races, if you can manage those temps better, you can push for longer.
Also was curious on how aggressive drivers want to be to lead a lap. That one bonus point, then you can kind of back off and reassess how you want to tackle the rest of the race. And Anderson leading another lap as Hicks thought he had a chance there. As driver leaving pit road, that will be the 14 of Jesse Thornock. Thought he was going to be disconnected and done for the evening. Our 29th driver has registered in. He will take off and go. Going to be to the inside on the back stretch. We'll see how the leaders want to attack. And does the 14 stay on the track or go to the apron? He's halfway now, fully down to that yellow line, letting the field drive on by. And it's still Anderson, but no longer. Now Nolan Hicks to the point as he takes his vehicle to the inside.
And you made a valuable point in the pre-race about Nolan Hicks being so good on the intermediate, sneaky good this season. If he can start his playoffs off with the bang here at Talladega, get some bonus points and get a great finish here, Nolan Hicks will definitely be a contender when it all is said and done, as he's going to get to lead this lap here is Ryan Ferraro, and that top side getting the push from Maurice Gomillion, starting to have a big head of steam into 1.
Maurice Gomillion, he's been around the top 15 marker for most of the season when he entered in just a few races late with a big grouping of drivers. Gomillion, he's raced with a lot of these drivers in the past, and this is a type of race where maybe you've struggled before. This can reset your whole season if you have a good run. As you can see, the 10 machine on the outside trying his best to roar his way forward, just not going as quick as you would hope. As we ride on board for our fan favorite, it's the one of Joshua Stovall, 4th driver on the outside, and now cracking into the top 10, the ones trying to move forward. And Zach, this is another driver that we know. Super speedways, a lot watch out for Stovall. He will be a threat to make some big bold moves to get up front.
Well, no doubt. That's why I made the pick for this guy, because he is always going to be willing to make that move. But got to give everybody patience right here, right now, because everybody's just staying 2x2. Easily, someone could have made this 3 wide. They could have jumped to the middle there of that grouping. You see the little bit of distance everybody's given right now with just early in this race. No reason to be very, very aggressive and ruin each other's races. So a lot of smart maneuver from these drivers, just staying right now in the 2x2 position and just kind of being a conveyor belt, dropping down the 2 that they push out to the front, and the next 2 will go to the outside and kind of conveyor belt forward. So it's definitely all working very well right now. But I tell you, as those laps click away, as the boredom starts to slip in sometimes the Speedway race and just riding in a line, these drivers will start to turn up the whip.
Yeah, that boredom feeling, that sensation of just, I'm getting tired of just riding in the same spot. Let's have some fun. Let's make some moves. Let's get moving. That's something I've kind of noticed a lot recently. We're talking about the drivers and their mentality of how they want to tackle super speedways. They are not very patient at times when you feel like they should. And speaking of patience, talk about Stovall. He was in 9th just a lap ago. Now pushing Vincent Sora to the lead. 1-2 is the 15 and the 1. And these were some of the fastest drivers at the start of the season at Daytona. Vincent Sora ultimately took the victory that day. But Stovall still leads on the outside. He's getting a lot of help from the 2 machinists, Stephen Clapp. And these have been the 2 drivers who have been attached all the way through this run. They both just stay on the outside, and they are now cruising to the front row.
That they are, and I think what you'll see here again, every time the people that have dropped down to the bottom, they've kind of just gotten, pushed backwards, because look at Jackson Anderson. He's back to 10th. He was one time leading this inside line. Now he's about the 5th car in this line. So it just shows you they're kind of dropping one by one down from this outside line and just continually switching up this front position. So it's just showing me that outside line is very, very strong.
Just take your opportunities, keep moving forward as quickly as you can. 7 laps in. Some of our biggest movers right now, Stephen Clapp up 13 positions. Michael Miller, who's also on the outside of the 99, up 13 spots, up 12 spots in 13 positions. The 6th of Justin Smith. And all the drivers are moving forward. They are staying to the outside and taking all the chances that they can. Some of the biggest losers so far in the early going, Ale Fonseca started in the front row. He has dropped all the way to 20th position. And Zach, that is sometimes the call. You start out front, maybe you didn't lead the first lap that you wanted, and it's just get out of the way, get into survival mode all the way in the back.
Yeah, I think Ali's kind of went into that also. So it's like he's one of the cars in the single file line behind this group. So definitely a strategical call, and I kind of like that idea of just kind of ride right now, because I'm telling you, at some point the driver mentality just kicks in of wanting to do something, and that's when the incidents pop up, because other drivers are in that mentality of just ride right now and just kind of let everything work out. When you have one driver off that schedule, those schedules will conflict.
They certainly will, as seeing the drivers on the outside, still going to be Joshua Stovall leading the charge. Vincent Sora, that inside row, a little bit stronger of pushes going around, as looks like just the tempo and the pace is kind of backing off. I think mainly because the bumps just haven't been as clean. The temperatures in the engines maybe ramped up a little bit too high. And also drivers got to be aware, lap traffic is in front of them. It's next driver they're going to catch up to is Cody Reed in the 88, who had a drive-through penalty to start the race off. As you're seeing Ryan Ferraro, he'll bounce to the outside, looking for a little bit of help by the 1, but Stovall does not want to help that 1 machine. We're going to go 3 wide, battling for 3rd place, as there's the big push from Clapp to the 1 machine of Stovall. Stovall, though, not clear. He'll have to stay to the middle groove.
That's the unfortunate thing for Clapp now. He's going to be the 3rd car up on that top groove, and he's going to be stuck up there. And luckily, he can jump back down into that outside line, because I was just about to say, as we come up on this lap car, Cody Reed, you're going to want to have that extra lane of maneuverability right here to be able to move up. So, it looks like Reed might stay on the bottom here, so it looks like the line's going to have to shift to the top here.
Drivers have been told you are able to drive on the apron and even make passes with the apron down to the apron. That is free game. But if you come back up onto the racing surface and make contact with another driver, that could be hurting you. Scotty Reed drops to the apron. It is just a duel of who could get up front. Stovall with a big push from Ryan Ferraro, and Ferraro trying to deke his way to get by the one machine, but Stovall says, no, I want to lead this lap. Give me this bonus point, as the one holds strong leading this charge. The 10 machine trying his best, but now newcomers to the outside. It's Thomas Green, Vincent Sora, and Stovall may not lead this lap once the 3 machine gets that 15's bumper.
This is a big run here from the 15. We'll see if he gets to the quarter panel to lead the lap. But I think Stovall's going to have it there, as the one will have it on that time by. As actually, no. Did it give it to Vincent Sora? Actually,
gave it to Stovall by 200ths of a second.
Oh,
it was
wow,
close.
That was so
close.
That's what we're gearing up for later, folks. So just be here when we get to the conclusion of these 90 laps. I guarantee you might see about that similar thing right there play out. But Thomas Green and Vince Sora, the 2 teammates here, kind of pushed out far ahead of Clapp here. So I don't know if that's going to work out, as Vince Sora jumps to the bottom there. That's going to allow now Thomas Green to get the push from behind to see if he can maybe even get in front of the 15.
Well, you talked about boredom. Well, we made it 10 laps. Now it's time for some 3-wide action. Being led on the outside, that's Justin Smith, as well as Samuel S. Garcia, Mark Morales, trying to find a way to get this 6 machine up to maybe lead a lap. Also, on the inside, 44, going to be seen Mark Labertone, who has really done a good job of trying to keep himself out of trouble after early struggle in the first half of the regular season. Got to say, this 44 doing his best to just slowly march his way forward by staying to the inside and letting everyone else make all the moves that's kind of pushing them backwards.
Sometimes that's how, Super Speedway racing can be. You can just ride in one line, let everybody make the moves for you, and at some point you'll end up just getting pushed to the front of that line because you just didn't make any moves to, say go backwards. So it's definitely a good call. Sometimes just ride there right on that bottom side and just see what's going on, because you have also the good thing with that, the inside. If the wreck does happen, a lot of times you have that escape route to the inside of the infield or the apron below you. So that is always good to have, where at that outside lane, something happens, it's kind of hard to find your way back down.
It really can be, as drivers are finishing up their times. One of the drivers that set the fastest lap, Joshua Kanata, a 50.506 is your Hot Lap Designs fastest lap of the race so far. Whoever gets that award will also be rewarded with 1 bonus point. So some drivers are incentive to hold in the back, maybe build up some speed, and it's kind of an awkward spot we're seeing 3 wide up front, 3 wide in the back. You got to be careful further on back to stay 3 wide. Side drafting can kill your momentum and make you lose the lead group if you're not careful. But drivers 3 wide at the moment. Luckily, we're here at Talladega, where there's plenty of space to go 3 wide. You've got your different lanes you can drive in, but it's not the most comfortable thing when we've been talking about temperatures, seeing a lot of the drivers that are giving big pushes. They're trying to get as much clean air as quickly as possible. Being 3 wide is not going to give you that space to work with.
That's for sure, yeah. You can see here, Talladega's got plenty of room for 3 wide, but still things get clogged up very easily, and you just don't have nowhere to go sometimes, because nobody's really looking to make it 4 wide right now. That's just too dangerous. So a lot of times just when you see 3 wide, that's about all you're going to get here this early into going. But looks like, again, the battle for the lead is Stovall trying to side draft that 15 up front and try to maybe get that 1 car back out front.
Trying to make the big moves, but it's Vincent Sora trying to control both lanes currently, as some of our bigger movers, again, been marking them down. But the biggest mover currently is Michael. It's going to be Michael Miller in the 99, 4th driver on the outside, as he is ahead of that pink 85 machine. As fast as lap now, give it to Dakota Moniz. Now, he's not a part of the chase, but he can still take that point away and be a little bit of spoiler. And that's kind of the fun of seeing drivers, we talk about boredom-wise. Trying to go for the fastest lap can help with that boredom as well.
It definitely can, There's a lot of strategy to it. A lot of times you see some of these drivers, they'll build a big gap in front of them just to get that big old suck up right there from the car ahead and the push from behind. So we'll see some really good lap times with that technique. So we'll see if anybody likes to do that. And usually the farther back you are in the field, the quicker the lap time is going to be also.
Seeing the drivers up front, still 2 by 2. Samuel S. Garcia got bounced to the outer groove, trying to find his spacing to get back in line. And also you have the lap driver of the 88 of Cody Reed. He currently runs 28th on track, but he's right in the thick of things here with our top 10. And Zach for the 88 of Cody Reed, his simple thing that he's looking for is a caution. He needs it badly, but he also has to make sure he's not involved with that wreck. If he is involved with the wreck, that would take away his lucky dog, or what we like to call the lucky cod award. That would give him a wave around to get back onto the lead lap, or take away one of the lap down laps that you have. This 88 machine is right in the thick of things, and this is not where I would expect Cody Reed to be running if he's looking for that lucky cod award.
Yeah, that's kind of the questionable thing here for me is, yeah, maybe he wants to get up here in the mix and maybe get back the lap the old-fashioned way and hopefully get a caution at that point, but, you're putting yourself at a lot of risk here if that wreck does happen that you clearly need. If you get involved in it, you're not, like you said, you're not getting that lap back. That will take that away from you, so you have to make sure you're not involved in anything here. And, if I'm Reed, you just got to play this one safe and make sure you stay with the lead group and nothing less.
Another lap down driver, Jesse Thornick, about to be going 3 laps down as Cody Reed is going to be going 3 wide. Yeah, it looks like for the 88, he's just testing some moves that maybe once he gets on the lead lap, he can test out and work better. At this moment in time, they're going to be staying 3 wide in the middle of the pack as Jesse Thornock gets ready to drop down the apron and let the field drive on by. No, he'll go to the outside. This is one of the other safe places you can place your vehicle. If you're seeing in your mirror, everyone's 2x2. Why not just get in line for yourself? As drivers continue on, Cody Reed's dad, Lenny Reed, right out in the chat. I think there is debris on the track. Maybe throw a yellow would help him out. I think that would be obviously helpful for Cody Reed, who continues to just linger. First driver, 1 lap down. Zach, though, 18 laps in, we know that the drivers are going to think about pit stops here in some form or fashion. But until then, who are some of the drivers, or what are some things you've noticed so far in these first 18 laps of this race?
The one thing I've really noticed is a lot of calm patience right now from everybody. Nobody's really too much forcing the issue. I've seen a lot of people, for example, Vince Sor, when he dropped up there to control both lines, Stovall could have been pretty ruthless there and jumped on the right rear quarter panel. But he kind of let him know, I'm just going to keep shoving him out here, let him do his thing. Because I'll tell you, later in the race, someone does that. You either like to shove them if you think that can help you. But if you got the help from behind like Stovall had at that moment, a lot of times you jump to the right rear, kind of leave them out to dry in the middle line and, side draft by them. But I think this early in the go, and everybody's just showing patience and knowing that you got to have some give to have that take. So if you're gonna go out there and race hard for this lead, you got to also give a little bit too, because those moments will come back to bite you. If not, you don't want to be involved in anything here 19 laps into this 90 lap event where nothing matters.
And blown engine, Ryan Ferraro. More drivers stacking to the inside. Driver stacking up is going to be Mark Labertone as well as Mark Morales, but blown engine for Ryan Ferraro. Another driver going to be staying low. Looks to be Isaac Reimer. We stay green for now as the 9 machine gets back out on track. Everyone else heads into pit road, and Ferraro proving the issue we were worried about. Blown engine for the 10 machine.
And it's that easy to do, folks. Man, such an unfortunate case there, because that's going to take out Mark Labertone, who was kind of like we talking about, minding his own business on the inside there. Isaac Reimer had to come to the pit road. Mark Morales was spun around, so it was just a terrible case scenario right there to happen on the bottom side.
And that was the situation. If you're Cody Reed, you're hoping a caution would have been thrown. Not going to be the case. We continue to stay clean and green so far, as Joshua Stovall as well as Michael Miller stay up front, leading the charge. Rest of the field trying to close in the gap, but currently it's Joshua Kanata back around 17th. He's the first driver that's missing out on that lead pack that's 2-3 wide, and they're 3 wide battling for second place. Maybe a caution will help out the 16. No, he just has a massive run. Watch Kanata go.
Wow, look at the run he's got. Like you said, that was amazing to see. Up front, you had the 6 of Justin Smith make a big move. He kind of got shuffled out to the top there. He's dropping back in the 6. And Michael Miller, the leader, he's going to have the likes of Samuel Garcia with the push from Nolan Hicks up here alongside him. So seeing some new names possibly get up here right in the mix, as that little bit of jumble up has caused a little bit of chaos.
And drivers that are missing out on the draft currently, Ethan Dallaire in 18th, Ali Fonseca, as well as Justin Campbell in line with one another. Ben Keeney trying to attach with Campbell and Fonseca. Halsey just a little bit off. And then it's 23rd on back that are just completely away, nowhere close to the lead pack that stays 2 by 2. And Samuel S. Garcia, our sponsor for the halfway award, the SG Graphics halfway award, currently trying to lead the charge on that outer groove. That pink machine has been adding a lot of funny content to watch on his TikTok and YouTube channel. Go check out SG_Racing today to see what Samuel S. Garcia has going on as he leads the way, getting a little bit of help from Nolan Hicks on the outside. And Hicks, once again, finding some good speed, but Chris Stitz, third driver on the outside. Zach, I know this is a race. If he wins here tonight, he'll take it as redemption after missing out on the win last week at Chicagoland.
No doubt, and what a way to start off his chase it would be for him, because again, that was such a great race from him at Chicagoland, and it was just unfortunate to see how it did all unfold for him. But man, he could come out here and make a huge statement, like you said, to get away. This whole big move's being made, as Stovall's going to block all the way to the apron on the 85 of Garcia, who wanted to get to that lead, but Stovall denied it. Now Stitz, like we were talking about, he's pulled up alongside for a second, and he's going to look for the run for the lead.
What a unique duo to see. Cody Reed, that kind of helped stall out Stovall from winning last week, now helping the 17 here a week later, trying to push Stovall to the lead position. Garcia, though, going to be seeing Stitz to the outside, Stovall the inside groove, just back and forth action. And Justin Smith in the 6, he's the one that I'm curious if he gets a good enough run. If someone else tags along with him, this 6 will take the lead at some point. He's just got to find the right help to push him forward as Stovall continues to lead the charge on the inside. But Samuel S. Garcia, you better be careful with your temps with how close he's staying on the one's bumper.
Definitely got to be very, very careful for sure. I mean, we've seen how that happened to Ryan Ferraro in a blink of an eye for him. You don't want to be in that same situation. So 24 laps in, everybody doing a great job, and it'll be interesting to see when do pit stops transpire here for these drivers. Really, when do they want to come down, make these first couple stops?
As the field continues to race on, that first big wreck from the Ryan Ferraro engine expiring moment. Though 10 machine officially out, Isaac Reimer also calling it a night. Mark Lappertone in pit road getting damage repair. Jesse Thornock, who started this race already 2 laps down. He's fallen to 3 laps down at this current moment. He's about to move up to 26th position with not even having a chance to race with the field. What a job, and showing the mental fortitude you're going to have to show here if you want a chance to race for it, or if you're part of the top 16 in the chase. You got to be willing to just fight for every position you can, try to rebound an evening as Stitz, Reed fighting their way on the outside. That 88's got to be careful with how aggressive he was pushing that last run to help the 17 lead that lap. His temps might be a little bit compromised here if he's not careful.
That's for sure. Got to be very, very careful, you know, especially for him. There's nothing to lose in this position right now. He just needs to be very, very careful to try to get back on that lead lap and gain back everything that kind of set him back in this race so far. So we'll see if Reed can do that. But right now, just riding in a strong second, position on that outside there, just holding that top groove. And like you said, I think the 6 is Smith behind, though. He's the one to watch because he's been the one looking to the outside so many times.
Many times to continue to fight forward. Top 19 drivers are attached to this lead pack. Ben Keating, Ethan Dallaire, they've lost touch to the lead pack, as well as Jared Talmadge and Austin Halsey being off pace. But where will the lead pack want to go? Stitz having a little bit of help behind him on the outside, but one of the drivers we really talked about, Larry Yingling. Zach, I mean, entering this season, Yingling showed in the Truck Series previous to this Xfinity Series that away from certain vehicles, Larry maybe isn't the most dominant car, but he is consistent. And right now, trying to just survive to make to the end, which I feel like has been Larry's MO for most of this season.
It really has been. He's been really one of those drivers that's qualified well and done a good job of just being consistently getting finishes out of his races. So we'll see what he can do here tonight. And if I know him, he probably won't be making much noise till about 20 to go. After that final pit stop, that's where you'll see this 67. If he's got any shot at anything, he'll be right up in the mix at that point. So right now he knows there's no payout.
And talking about unique drivers in line with one another, you move a couple of drivers ahead. The 08 of Jackson Anderson. I mean, he went on a tear, back-to-back wins for himself when he found himself in the middle of the season where it really was crunch time, winning at Nashville, winning at Michigan, almost finding the speed win at Dover, and even at Chicagoland. He had great speed there. But this '08, during those winning days, was starting to build a rivalry, you could say, with the 15 of Vincent Sora. Those two, when they're out on track next to one another, they do not like each other. And Zach, they were making a lot of rumbles, contact the last few weeks. I'm guessing they're not going to try to take each other out here tonight, but curious if maybe they'll even try to attempt to help one another if they find each other in line.
I think the only time you'll see them helping each other is if it's going to be beneficial to that person who's helping the other one. Because, yeah, like you said, no love lost between those two, really, from what we've seen with the racing. And it's been very hard and very cutthroat, but nothing really egregious from anybody on either side. So it's been fun to watch, and I think it's going to be a storyline, I think, here, especially with a couple of these intermediate tracks coming up. I think you're going to see that '08 and that '15 have some more battles.
The fight all around. Is this field still side by side? 28 laps in. I know I wasn't given the information on this. I don't know if you have the info on this, Zach. What is the fuel number that we're looking for? Maybe the lap that some of these drivers are aiming to make this first pit stop of the day.
I'd imagine, most of the time here with these fuel cells and these Xfinity cars, we're probably going to see about 42 laps, 43 laps, I'd imagine, at most. So we're not going to be able to make this a one-stop. That's still a little bit too far to reach. We can't go that 45 laps, and if you can't do that, it's going to be pretty much impossible to get to that point there for that halfway, one-stop race to the end. I think a lot of these drivers are probably going to look to stretch it, though, to be into that fuel cell, because that does open up the opportunity and the door for strategy later. And, say you're ended up only 5 laps short by running it all the way out, and you have to make a 5-lap little pit stop at the end of the race. You're not going to come down and put tires on. You're just going to splash that car with some fuel, be much quicker on pit road, gain upwards of almost 10 seconds off a full pit stop. So I think you'll probably see that strategy employed. So we'll see really the extent of how far they can go in fuel. I'd imagine it's in that 40 range, but I think once you see those pit stops start happening, it's probably going to be almost to the end of the fuel cell.
10 laps away from when we're expecting those pit stops to be made. Also, while we were talking about the fuel, you saw some action with lap traffic. The 9 machine of Mark Morales staying on the racing surface on the inside, was trying to make it a little bit more difficult for this pack to get by the 9. Reason why? He's the first driver. He was trying to fight to be the first driver 1 lap down with Cody Reed. Now he got a duel for Cody. He was kind of in a comfort zone. Now he's got to worry about in his mirror. Where is the 9 that could try to steal that lucky caught award away if we get a caution here as of this race continues on. 31 laps in. No yellow flag has been thrown so far, but it's Justin Smith leading the way, the 6 machine. Really finally getting to the spot where I had a feeling he was going to get to. The question was, how was he going to get there? And it was a lot of help from the drivers on the outside, just taking his time, finally getting the lead position.
You'll see Cody Reed here jump out to the outside line. He's going to lead this outside line, and that's important for him because Morales was in that outside line a couple cars back. So if he's stuck on the bottom and say the outside line started to go forward, he might have lost that lead, lead lap down car position, because it's going to be a battle now. That's probably put a lot of nerve on that 88, and it's going to make him think a lot. And look, even here comes Austin Halsey to put him a lap down, even though he's going to go on the apron and lose a ton of momentum, I think, and maybe even lose the pack if he can't get back on the track soon.
Yeah, Halsey, one of the drivers that took a lot of front-end damage and rear-end damage. I think he might be even underpowered, is the 84, as lets the field drive on by. Now up front, going to be Justin Smith, Chris Stitz, Joshua Stovall, Dakota Moniz, as Cody Reed really getting in the mix, and he's going to be stuck in the middle. Who will help the 88 machine? He'll get the help from Stitz, trying to give him the push. Actually, that's Dakota Moniz, who's going to be following the 88 machine, as Justin Smith loses all of his help. He'll drop back, and also in the mix, another lap down driver. It's going to be Jesse Thornock. The lap down drivers are all on the outside.
This is getting wild here. All these drivers positioning themselves, trying to maybe get back on the lead lap, and they're right in the mix with these lead lap drivers. So this is going to be an interesting mix. Smith there making that move to get out in front of the 88, just sliding out a little bit too far to the right, allowing the 88 to go to his inside. It's a interesting move to make here, and it's really trying to control both lanes, but it's so tough to do in these Xfinity cars. The runs are so big.
You certainly are. You're going to see another lap down driver about to be caught by our lead path. That's the 44 of Mark Labertone, who's 8 laps down. He's in pit road for over 6 minutes. We'll see where he wants to place himself as the lead pack is about to catch him very quickly. Cody Reed, Dakota Moniz, they're on that outside row, the 5. For the longest time, Super Speedway Racing was his top track to be at. He was so notoriously known for being up front, leading, winning races. He won the inaugural Talladega race in the ISRC Truck Series in a very much strategy-filled, who was going to make it at the end fuel run race. And this 5 machine up front in a good spot with some of the competition around him. He's got drivers that want to get up front very quickly, being a lap down. So why not stick around with the lap cars?
Definitely always interesting to have Dakota Moniz up in the mix here, and hopefully his luck goes his way, because it seems like every time lately these plate tracks is just not winning his way when it comes to luck. But definitely a great history when it comes to Talladega for him. He's been very much a huge part of really these Monday night series when it comes to winning at these plate tracks. So we'll see if he can continue to mix himself in there. But right now everybody's seeming very cautious. I mean, you see, look at the gaps even formed from that single file group right there to up ahead of them. I'm wondering if maybe some strategy being employed where these drivers think maybe they can stretch the fuel to 45. Because I will tell you this, if you can stretch it 45 or 46 on this run here, it's going to open up the door opportunity for that one stop to be very, very possible.
I mean, Zach, these drivers are running almost a full 2 seconds slower than their fastest time. Already a second and a half slower for some to their fastest time they've ran so far in this pack. I mean, there's a chance everyone is opted into the same strategy of, let's all slow down, let's all back off our pace and just try to save the fuel to get to halfway to turn it into a one-stop. The awkward position of that is that it puts drivers in a better chance to maybe catch up if they were in a better pack grouping behind around 20th on back, but they're really nowhere close. We're about to see a lot of those drivers go a lap down, as Jared Talmadge in the 27 had to start this race off with an EOL, lost the lead pack early on, and he'll force it 3 wide with drivers trying to get around this 27 and able to get some help. They'll stay 3 wide for now, and that is a spot you don't want to be in, where a lap down driver kind of just forces the issue, and Talmadge just opts out of it. He's going to go straight to the apron. Does not want to be the reason for a caution be thrown.
Definitely a very respectable move there for Jared to go low right there and let those guys by, because it could have got a little bit mixy. I mean, it's even set things up to get kind of wild there with the 3 wide racing they're doing. So we'll see how this works out for these drivers, because again, look, you got Cody Reed right there in the mix, Martin Morales there coming up in the middle. We'll see how Reed and Morales really race, because again, that is the battle for that first position on the, that is a lap down.
As Ben Kinney is going to take that 51 to pit road. Thought he was going to be another driver to go a lap down while staying on the track. Not going to be the case. Ethan Dallaire over the radio trying to discuss with the lead pack where they want this 22 to be. And oh boy, watch out. Drivers are making some moves all around.
Oh man, Jared Talmadge there, really big moment there into 1. I think he got some contact from the Ada Noah Steele, because there was a checkup, and I don't know how we didn't have a caution there, guys, because he literally drifted all the way through turn 1 and 2 and then down into the grass. So Jared Talmadge's race, who went a lap down now, looks like he might be in jeopardy of going 2 laps down if this race stays green.
Contact was made, did not go the full 45 degrees with oncoming traffic while slowing down. That would usually bring out a caution flag. Not going to be the case. We continue to stay green, 37 laps in, and already about 2-3 incidences that probably should have brought out a caution that did not. As the 22 of Ethan Dallaire, he will fall behind and watch the pack in front of him. But now we're seeing lap down drivers. Martin Morales trying to stay ahead and to unlap himself the hard way to be the lead driver. But currently, he's in a spot. If a caution comes out and the 9 machine is not involved with the wreck, he would get the Lucky Cut award.
And that's the thing. If that caution would have came out there, Jared would have spun out fully there. That would have went to Martin Morales for, that lead lap position. And that would have been a huge story there, because Cody Reed fought this whole time to get back to try to be the lucky dog. Well, no longer that was going to be the case. It was going to be the lucky cod of that 9 car of Martin Morales. So let's see how this works out, as he's actually now even getting the help of Joshua Kanata here. So Reed going to have to get back in the mix, as he's helping Aaron Kralik 2 cars behind this.
And more drivers have entered into pit road to get service done. Austin Halsey, who's been driving by himself for a while there, he had to get into pit road. Same for Ben Keeney. They're getting service done, which is going to put the question in mind for a lot of these drivers in this lead pack. when you enter pit road, with a lot of the drivers heading to the inside row, that's usually a sign that pit stops are calling for a majority of the field. The question is, if you miss pit road, which is a possibility, would you have enough fuel to go another lap around? Or is everyone set for this lap to be the lap to go in? Because this is a sign, watch out, it's either this lap or the next, that everyone's heading to pit road.
I saw everybody start to look to the inside. They wanted to gather up to that bottom. Everybody kind of gave up on the top, and that makes me think pit stops are very, very close, Sam. So I don't think that 45 lap mark is what they're going to be able to make it to. They're on lap 40 right now. If anything, you're going to see probably 2 to 3 more laps out of these drivers, just trying to get every little bit of thing out of the tank of fuel they got in these cars.
And what's going to make this frustrating for all the drivers that are already 1 lap down, I mean, you're hoping no caution comes out until you're that first driver 1 lap down, get that lucky duck spot. But Zach, I know for Cody Reed, this is a terrible position to be placed in. He was expecting still to be the only driver 1 lap in, 1 lap down. As drivers over the radio calling, they are going in now. Watch out for the fan out, who will all join. Joshua Stovall, it's Kanata who goes in, Miller, and most of the front row. As drivers are sliding, it's Martin Morales sliding sideways right in front of the field. Everyone squeezing to the inside.
Big wreck.
Contact made, claps involved. Also Kanata, Miller, Martin finally gets rolling, and this kills all the momentum. The second group might be the better place to be, but do they have the fuel to make it all the way around?
That is going to be the question for sure. And man, oh man, how that all played out was just not what a lot of those drivers wanted. Is now Stitz, Larry Yingling, Ryan Kelly, those 2 teammates from Yin Yang Racing here going to make the pass around the outside to try to go up here. They might be hitting pit road this time, but it's going to be such an easier entry to pit road here with less cars. And it just shows you that one little simple mistake, it can trickle down and cause multiple others to get involved.
And drivers over the call, it's Yin Yang Racing, going to be 1, 2, 3 currently. Stitz, Yingling, Kelly, all heading to pit road. And everyone trying to whoa up. Jackson Anderson right on the rear bumper of that 67. Stitz going to be the first driver leading the way, but they're going to be stacked 3 wide. You got to get in line. If you're a driver on the outside, you got to go to pit road. You can turn yourself if you're not careful. As drivers are still stacked side by side, you better hope that your pit stall is first if you're on the inside. As Kelly, Yingling into their box. And cleanly for some, not for others. Yingling backs up. Nolan Hicks has to back up. Hicks has to back up 3 separate times. The 86 will not be with the lead pack. As that first group that pitted, it's Stovall all by himself, just finally seeing some drivers get to his back bumper.
So many mistakes there. I mean, even Jackson Anderson made a huge one. Ali Fonseca slides through his box. He's going to be left all alone by himself on pit road. This was a detrimental pit stop for a lot of these guys, and I tell you, I'm not surprised because these pit boxes are so slick. You wouldn't think that a super speedway that the tires would be worn. They're not really worn. It's just they're very hot when you come to pit road because of all the speed and all the high load you've been carrying the whole time. And man, oh man, it really made a lot of people's days worse right there.
Mar Morales was given a black flag penalty for an unsafe pit entry. Rest of the field got into their box, and a little bit of slide here and there, but no black flags were given. Ryan Kelly, Vincent Sora, Thomas Green, Larry Yingling going to be your top 4 currently. Cody Reed, Joshua Stovall, they're going to be the first drivers to bounce it to the middle groove as the 88 and the 1 want to be in control now, but we're already seeing a difference. I mean, Zach, I don't know if this is a draft difference, a change of ideas of how they want to run this stint. Well, that was a huge pass for just 2 vehicles getting by.
Definitely was. I know these other 4 are still trying to get up to speed. They're probably fully up to speed by now, but you know, still that was a huge push from the 1 to the 88. And even I think, like you said, might be a little bit of a mentality thing here. The 30, the 15, and the 3 and the 67 all might be looking again to stretch it just 1 lap longer each and every time. Those 2 extra laps you run over the rest of the field, that is 5 miles and less fuel. That is a huge amount of fuel, actually. That is a large chunk of time that you can save. So I think a lot of these drivers are really employing be fast as possible on pit road for that final stop.
As everyone stacks on top of one another, first green flag pit stop is done, and now it's the push to who wants to lead the halfway marker. Zach, we're just a lap away, 2 laps away, excuse me, from us seeing who's going to get the halfway bonus point. The halfway bonus point sponsored by SG_Racing. Go head over to SG_Racing to check out Great racing content from Samuel S. Garcia on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and Twitch. From live streams to little skits in content. They are great videos to watch. They have a couple of Sam's videos have really gotten me even to chuckle. He loves showing his high moments, the low moments, all that he can show. He loves to put on his channel. As seeing the 85, it looks like Sam. Whoa, no, Morgan spun off the nose. Caution is out, and Stovall leads at this time. Cody's ahead of him. He'll stay on the lead lap, but Mark Morales, caution is out.
Oh man, that's best case scenario for Cody Reed, because not only is he going to get back on the lead lap, but he doesn't have to go to the tail end of the longest line. He's actually going to line up where he's at in position. So good thing for him. But Justin Smith and that 9 of Martin Morales just coming together, and Aaron Kralik, one of the playoff drivers, taking a huge hit to the nose.
See the 9 machine, Martin Morales. Ryan, he's 2 laps down at this moment in time. And trying to build up his speed right in the thick of things. I mean, if you're Martin, being 2 laps down, there's so many drivers 1 lap down. There's really nothing you're trying to fight for. You're kind of in cruise control. Where did all the chaos ramp up into? And he moves up to the outside. Smith's right behind him. Their bump contact move by, whoa, Justin Smith, where are you going? As the 6 wipes out the 9. Dakota gets contact. Eric Kralik, that's some chase playoff implications. And contact all around, and that's what brings out our first caution of the day.
So tough. I mean, yeah, really, the 9 could have done the 6. Like, he was trying to make a move to the middle, but was so undecisive about it that he came back up into the 9. So, you know, that was definitely a interesting one. But I can tell you what, Cody Reed is going to be a happy man, because now he's back on the lead lap with a shot.
Back on the lead lap, and the rest of the field, you're in a tough situation. Do you all pull into pit road, top off on fuel, or not? And due to Joshua Stovall leading at the time of caution, congratulations, Stovall will be grabbing our halfway bonus point. That's another bonus point for the 1 machine, and continues helping him on his march for a championship. As the field sees pit entry, do you top off on fuel, or do you stay out? And no surprise, everyone heads to pit road to top off.
Yeah, I think that was kind of a no-brainer here to top off, because this definitely makes things almost doable. Especially, I think you're going to see a lot of people come here this time, top their car off. Then I think you're going to see more come down again to fully top off, because then you won't have to save as much fuel. I think you're going to need to save really about a lap once we get this thing going back green, especially with all these caution laps right here. This is going to help a ton. This is going to set up some interesting strategy right here, Sam.
It certainly will, as the field gets ready for all of the fun. Actually, take that back. It is not the time of caution. They actually are going to be whoever stays out. So that's actually Joshua Kanata that takes the halfway bonus point.
Oh, wow.
Oh, okay. That's different from what I thought we were doing. All right. Joshua Kanata, due to staying out, being the driver who did not top off on fuel, he will take that bonus point for himself. So congratulations to the 16, as he'll take that bonus point for himself. Drivers, get ready for the choose. And for us, we're going to take our commercial break as we are halfway through this race. 1 caution in the books. It's been a wild, just keep it together type of a race, but how much more? Is it going to be fuel mileage? Is it going to be push it to the end? We'll find out when we come back. Again, we've got ourselves a commercial break. We'll be back after this for more Trinity Racing League for tonight's wide open throttle Supply 240. We'll be back after this for some more Super Speedway Talladega racing. It's Kanata, Kelly. Who else will steal the show? Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Freaky Fast Broadcasting. My name is Sam Dyer. Joining me is Zach Hall up in the booth. Running production, as always, is Robert Moyer Jr. And tonight we're watching the Trinity Racing League presented by Larry Art Productions. You're watching the first race of the chase. 5 races to see who has the most points after that. And whoever has the most points will take the inaugural season championship. We had our first caution come out at the halfway of tonight's run. How many more cautions do we have in us? Or can we stay clean and green to the end? Let's find out. As up front, Joshua Kanata did not top off on fuel. Everyone else did. As your wide open throttle supply 240 is back underway. All the way up to the top, no hood. That's going to be Mark Lavertone just letting the field drive on by. But it's the 16, the 1, the 3, and everyone else in line. When will we go 2 wide? Go 3 wide for now. It's still Kanata leading the charge as we exit at turn number 2.
Great job by Kanata there. He's going to get that halfway bonus like we were talking about and at that point. But now the contention for him, though, is I believe, is not going to, he's going to be the only driver out here that's on this lead lap, at least, that will not be able to make it on fuel. So he's going to need some help with some yellows, and at some point going to probably have to pit here.
And update on some drivers that were caught up in our last. He's going to be the first driver to call it a night of that group. Everyone else that was involved in that wreck has been able to get repairs and are back out on track. We got 19 drivers on the lead lap. Justin Smith, the first one. Jared Talmadge, Ben Keeney, they're fighting for the Lucky Cod Award. Up front, it's a driver who's trying to get one of his 3 laps back. It's Jesse Thornock with Cody Reed, who was up ahead on the lead lap at time of caution. So he got his lap back the hard way and now is rewarded with being the leader at this time.
Well, to see already the 88 up here to the lead, but he fought hard for it, and now he's going to have this lead position, and he'll get the help from Kanata here, but also he's going to have the likes of this 94 Maurice Gomillion coming up with the run. And look, Reed immediately jumps out to the outside, says, nope, that run stops. I want the push.
And Cody Reed, now that he's on the lead lap, he's going to race his president. Need as many laps as possible. He's got to go with a lap-led bonus point as well as most laps led. With us being at the halfway point of this race, it is still possible for him to go for that award. It's just going to be a lot of hard work and a lot of dangerous moves to keep him up front as he gets in front of the 14. Million rocking on the outside, but Cody Reed continues to lead this race. For how long is going to be the true question, and who else can maybe try to steal the show, as Jared Talmadge in the 27 is kind of in a similar spot Cody Reed was in right before that last caution. He's battling with drivers and trying to find his way forward, but internet issues for the 27. He has blinked out. He has disappeared. No one knows where Jared Talmadge is currently, and we got to be careful. If he's gone for too long, that could really hurt the field.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting now because, look, that car is still, the 99 Michael Miller is still the slot behind Jared Talmadge was behind Garcia, so we'll see if he comes back here for a moment.
He's back. He's all the way back. Whoa. In the middle of 3 and 4. He completely just slammed on the brakes when he disappeared.
I wonder if that's what happened to him at the beginning of the race that got him so far behind, because I have seen this before on iRacing where you lag and you stay where you're at until you come back, and the field's almost like a full second ahead or 2 ahead of you. So I have seen this before, and I'm wondering if that is the issue that Jared's running into, because that would be terrible feeling to have.
As the field up front, now Maurice Gomillion of the 94 getting a chance of what it's like to lead this race. Samuel S. Garcia as well trying to give a push. Looking at some of the other drivers that are mixed in between here. Mark Morales is still trying to find a way to get one of his Ben Keeney, all mixed in between. I mean, this is a interesting group of drivers that I don't think I had listed to watch out for, but with the way that the fuel run is looking right now, I think a lot of the field is all trying to just find a way to save just a little bit of fuel, maybe not racing to be up front, but allow the draft to pull them along.
Good to see, even though Aaron Kralick's there a lap down as 01, he's a 3rd car on that inside line. It's good to see, though, that he's got that repaired enough to where it is able to race. So that is a good sign for the 01. If he can get back in the lead lap, that 01's still in the mix for a race win here tonight.
As the field continues to race on side by side for the majority of the field. A little bit of blinking from Mark Morales. Got to be careful for the 9 machine on the outer groove as he continues to linger on the outside. Looking at some of the other drivers that are mixed in the middle here. Vincent Sora currently running in 8th place. Thomas Green in 7th. You've also got Ali Fonseca in 9th. Nolan Hicks in 10th. Noah Steele in the middle, just outside of the top 10. All just lingering with this lead group as all top 18 drivers still attached in the draft. A little bit of lap traffic mixed in as well. But look at our top 18, Zach. I mean, there's a couple of drivers I'm concerned about. They're still attached with the draft, luckily, even though they've dealt with some damage. Like you said, Aaron Kralik being a lap down, unfortunate for himself. Even Hilaire, I'm a little bit concerned about for the 22. But you look at the rest of this field, there's still a lot of contenders we know that are willing to make some big moves later on. I'm just curious on when the go button will be with how strict you have to be on your fuel. I mean, is it even in the final 5 laps, 3 laps? If we continue with this pace, it might only be the final lap when you can fully take off and go.
That's the thing that I'm wondering, is because the way the pace is right now, some of these other drivers, of course, are able to save fuel the farther back you are, just because you're in line. Some of these drivers up front, it might be tough for them to fully save. And I think the farther we get in this run, the more I'm noticing the pace does start to trickle off more and more. And I think more people start thinking, oh, this is not looking the best. And even someone like a Cody Wheaton, who also got here and lead all these laps, out here in the lead is the worst fuel mileage you're going to get. So that is another thing you got to play in the factor. When fuel mileage becomes a part of this, it no longer becomes who can run the fastest race. It becomes who can manage that fuel the best.
As up front, Maurice Gomillion on the outside, Cody Reed on the inside, continuing to fight back and forth. There is one driver we absolutely know cannot make it to the end. That's the 16 of Joshua Kanata. He is in a spot where he will have to pit one more time before this race is over. And this 16, I mean, that's a tough pill to swallow when you know you are the only driver. You strictly stayed out for that one bonus point for leading the halfway of this race. No one else followed you with that strategy, and if you have to pit by yourself, your race is over. And that 1 point is not going to help you go for a championship if you finish all the way back in 19th to 20th position at the end of this thing.
Oh, for sure. If that's how it plays out, he'll be wanting to trade that point back very quickly, because you're going to lose 10, 15 points because of the decision you made here with this if it does end up going fully green. So Kanata playing on the factor of, super speedways, it gets farther down to the end, most likely that yellow will come. The thing is, he can make it somewhat close to that distance. I think where he's going to start to worry is when we get to that 10 to go marker, that 8 to go marker. That's when he's going to start having in the back of his mind, how many laps of fuel do I really have left in this car? So he's going to hope they start getting a little bit racy before that all plays out.
Absolutely. As other drivers of concern, what if contact hurt their vehicle just slightly? One of those, the 8 machine of Noah Steele. We talked about how Jared Talmadge went for a slide under that after the green flag pit stops were made. The 8 machine got a little bit of nose damage, runs currently in 12th. And I'm curious if we can ride on board and get a sense of what it's like to be one of these drivers further on back. That's just not really fighting for a lot, but trying to just manage your vehicle. And Zach, I mean, a clear picture of what the lead pack that's side by side is. What is it like being in this position as a driver, just watching the field that just kind of disappears on where they all went once you go on the front stretch?
Right here is a lonely feeling. When you get on that front stretch and you're straight, you just can't really see much because of the way the cars are built. It's hard to see through them. So really you're just relying on not only maybe teammates farther ahead to have better eyes that are farther forward in line, but just cues such as smoke, sounds, and just any movement you can see of something going on. You got to be prepared for something to happen, because again, everybody's stacked up here in a line on this inside group. If you just jam the brake when you see something happen, that guy behind you most likely didn't see that happen, and they're going to get run right in the back of you. And that's how we get these accordion effect incidents that happen farther, especially back in these single file lines. This is more likely the places that you see them. So you got to be very cautious and always have your feet ready to be doing something, or have the ability to use your hands to go right or left if you know you got to slow down more quick, or not able to slow down quick enough where you can get out from behind someone. So it's always about paying attention right here, even though you're really kind of just riding. This is probably the calmest state you'll be in during all of this race, is just riding here, managing your fuel, riding probably 70% throttle, and just really trying to manage that fuel and get as much excess fuel build up for later in this race. It can be nerve-wracking though when this happens, because if you get into that lull and you let your mind go, you can easily get involved in those simple incidents.
And from being right on board the 8 machine, we'll move 2 drivers ahead of him. That's where we find the 24 of Ali Fonseca. What a week he's had so far. Coming off the win of Chicagoland, his first win of the season, his first win in a while for this 24 machine. Had a very strong vehicle. Got kind of graced with Vincent Sora making some pit road mistakes that kind of threw away his run and made it a duel between the 24 and the 17 late before Cody Reed kind of influenced the ending that helped Ali win. But this 24 gets a win, gets the week to focus on real life racing, helping the NY racing team that's on NASCAR, where JJ Yaley was racing yesterday at Las Vegas, to now racing at Talladega a day later. This 24 certainly an eventful couple of days that he's had for himself.
No doubt for sure for that. I mean, he's going to be actually very thankful so far in this race too, because he had a terrible pit stop. I mean, completely had to do the 3 to 4 times back up to get that car fully in the box, and he lost so much time that he was going to be completely in no man's land. But that yellow flag allowed him to get right back in here, and look, he's right here with the points leader Vincent Sora. And I think this is personally right where you're looking is the area, I think, somewhere where our winner might come out of here tonight if this thing stays green, because I think these drivers are just going to have the most to work with when we get down farther in this race and not have to worry about that fuel tank being a problem.
As Vincent Sora going to stay low, Ben Kinney trying to get in line as Mark Labertown stays high, Justin Smith stays low, and lap cars fade on through. Jackson Anderson in that blue and white machine ducking down in line as he moves up into 6th position, as the lap cars kind of left on their lonesome on the outside groove. That's Mark Morales as well as the 14 of Jesse Thornock. We're working with the lead lap drivers. Everyone was getting quite racy with one another, but now everyone is single filing up. All the lap cars are the only ones that are riding on that outside groove. And that's interesting to see. I think everyone on the lead lap's kind of recognizing the situation we're in, which is maybe slow down, save your fuel, save the pace. And we're almost running a 52-second lap time pace as they were crossing the line there.
Yeah, I've seen the pace. That's the one thing I've been watching with lap times is the pace has dropped considerably here in the last few laps, and that's just going to allow everybody to stack up that much more, and the fuel saving is on full go right now. Again, the worries I have, though, are for the likes of like a Cody Reed out front here. Yeah, he is saving fuel by lifting probably more than what you normally would out in front, but just no draft. And oh man, these laps.
I mean, look at the drop off. I mean, our top just 2 are taking off with the lap cars. They are in full bore go mode for Cody Reed and Joshua Kanata. Third on back just put a parachute on and backed off completely. It is complete fuel save mode for Stovall and the rest of the crew. Anderson doesn't want to lose touch to Reed or Kanata. But was that the judgment call that's maybe throwing away this run for the 08? Or is he okay with fuel? He's one of the drivers that topped off with 1 to go. Maybe the 08 knows, hey, if I can stay close, I will have the fuel to make it. But if you're Kanata, Reed, you're most likely going to have to pit. But as you're cycling through all these lap cars, it's still a tricky situation to be in.
It is always a tricky situation. And I tell you, the one thing you don't want to be ever when you're saving fuel is you don't want to be the last car of the group. You always want to have 1 car behind you, because that is your buffer to lift off a ton and get the shove at least back up to them. If you lift and don't have someone behind you, you sometimes can lose that draft. So the likes of Anderson, who is going to be that last car in that group, he's going to have a tougher time saving fuel unless he can get a car quickly behind him, and that will help his cases. But we'll see how the pace shifts back and forth here. I mean, we saw a really slow lap from a few. Now others seems like they're picking up their sense of urgency. But you got to just stay on your plan, in my opinion. You can't be going back and forth on it, because once you do that, that's when you start to play the realm of, oh, we're going to be a little bit too close.
We got lead lap drivers, we've got lap cars, and for those in the chat, thank you so much for joining with us here on your Monday evening, watching the Trinity Racing League presented by Larry Arts Production. Head on over to YouTube and also social medias to check out Larry Arts Production, from food reviews to little skits to fun ways to entertain you on the virtual world. Head on over to Larry Arts Production today. Thank you so much to Larry for being our title sponsor for the Trinity Racing League. You're watching currently the wide open Throttle Supply 240 at Talladega, the first race of the chase out of 5 races, and that second group has already climbed right back up to the lead pack. I mean, a second difference from our top 3 to the group that just caught up to him, and a little bit of a swing as lap cars were getting mixed around. That was a bizarre 5 laps. I'm still trying to scratch my head and figure out what the heck we just saw with the gap that branched out to 2 seconds and now is completely gone.
It was like everybody decided, oh, we're going to save fuel, and then we're not going to save fuel, and now we're going to save fuel again. So it's just, I think a lot of people, when you see those gaps form like that, they get kind of like, I don't want to lose too much time here, so I need to gain it back. And they kind of go back on their plan of saving the fuel, and they try to get back grouped up with this group. So we'll see how it works out. Right now, about 3 seconds separating our top 18, which is all the drivers on the lead lap right now. So everybody's still connected, but definitely a interesting position. I think when we get down to the end of this race, it's going to be more touch and go than we think with some of these guys are feeling.
Stephen White, he's typing in. I can sense the stress and anxiety he's feeling, rooting for the number 1 of Joshua Stovall, who runs in 4th place, just trying to hover close to the leaders, but not trying to just throw away his run, as the one machine is one of the drivers that needs to save his fuel in these final couple laps. Here's your weather conditions so far in this race. Today was an interesting one. The drivers doing a morning race, so the temperature on the track temp has been raising as the day goes on. The air temp getting a little bit warmer as the race goes on. Air temp at 79 Fahrenheit, track temp 103. Not really factors that we think about a lot, but the wind has been drifting up and down from about 5 to 10 miles per hour. That's the factor that kind of can change things up in the corners, especially on the exit if you're not careful. But Zach, I mean, a warm track, but not usually a factor you worry about with super speedway racing.
Not too much, yeah. You don't really worry about too much. It's definitely, I thought that's in the back of your mind. You're definitely worried about that window number, especially when it comes to qualifying. Those things can help a ton for single lap speeds, but also just handling in a pack. You know, it's a lot of air movement going on already. When you get some wind thrown in there, it can kind of shuffle things up even a little bit more. So this is interesting to see, but I think what we're seeing right now is very smart from Cody Reed. Allow this 27 Jared Talmadge to get right in front of you and draft off of him, because Reed this whole time has been pretty much leading out front, and you're the driver that's getting the worst fuel mileage when you're just towing everybody around. Now he'll be able to get the likes of that same fuel mileage return back now from the 27.
One of our playoff contenders, Justin Smith, finds himself heading into pit road, and it might be a day called for the 6 machine, just way off the pace, not able to keep up after his caution and involvement with the Mark Morales caution and wreck. And it will then head into pit road. A driver that's last of those in the lead pack currently. I mean, currently this is our lead pack. We've got the top 2 being Cody Reed, Joshua Kanata sticking with the lap cars that are trying to pull away from the rest of the field. Everyone else running about a half a second, you've almost a full second slower than this group. All the way back in 3rd place, Jackson Anderson now dropping to 2, now almost 3 seconds back. They just fell off a cliff. The field and the pack deciding we need to slow down, but the contact could be made. Everyone squeezing up so quickly. 3 wide, 4 wide, everyone still stacked on top of one another. The fuel saving got too dramatic too quickly, and the field stacks up. Everyone now has to ramp up their speed and went from fuel saving to you gotta get in line quickly because you're about to lose those top 2 that are pulling away.
Oh man, this is wild to watch. I mean, Reed is full on pushing as hard as he can on the back bumper of Jared Talmadge. I don't know if he's saving much fuel by doing that. Then the likes of Kanata in second, he can't make it anyway, so there's no reason for him to save fuel. But then you got this group here. It's so much fuel saving going on that they're stacking up on top of each other and creating issues for themselves. So right now, it is a full predicament of strategy, and everything is going wrong for every group, really.
I mean, 2 laps ago, Zach, they were within a second to Reed and Kanata. We are almost 6 seconds back. Reed and Kanata are gone. They are over 6 seconds ahead of Anderson, who leads this pack with Ben Keeney. Keeney's trying to figure out where he wants to place himself. You also have Stovall that's just watching this group, trying to go into fuel-saving mode, okay with the pushing and aggression that's happening. You just got to make sure that you don't get ran over in the entry of these corners with how slow they're driving. I mean, Zach, our pull time, we look at that, we're running slower than the pull time right now.
That just shows you how slow they're going. And to this, how slow they're going, in my opinion, if you would have came in topped off just went full bore as fast as you could with a group of cars for as long as possible here, and then come in and gave a splash of fuel, you probably would have came out ahead of them even, because they're already 10 seconds almost ahead now. If you'd have been doing that from the drop of the flag, I mean, wow, this is crazy to watch her.
Zach, the pole time was a 54.3. That last lap, everyone was running a 54.3 as a pack. This second group is shocking us with how slow they're going. This is looking very close to what real life NASCAR is like whenever they do stage racing at super speedways, trying to save the fuel. But this is so crazy to see. Up to now, almost 12 seconds is the difference between our top two running with lap traffic and everyone else that's just waiting for those final couple of laps, as now it's 20 laps to go.
This is mind-blowing to watch. It must be so much closer on fuel than what I was even thinking, because I felt like they were all going to be pretty good on fuel, having come and topped off, especially in how slow they've been going this run compared to the run before. They're going much slower, and they went pretty far in that run. We saw drivers go to 43. So I'm telling you right here, this is a very interesting strategy, because they're 12 seconds already behind now. If they continue to bleed time like this and they don't start to pick up the pace where they're like, okay, we're good on our numbers.
Oh, trouble!
There you go. That's
and there goes to be Ethan Dallaire to the inside. Also going to be seeing a little lap cars drifting to the inside as well. We stay green, but trouble for Kenny. Also for Kralik as Dallaire goes scattering to the inside. Oh my goodness. Kralick's into pit road. Kanada's into pit road. Cody Reed stays out with Morales and Thornock. What in the world? What a perfect time caution that could have been for Kanada and Reed. Instead, they have to hope that they've got the fuel, they've got the spacing, and that 12 seconds is a big enough gap for the 88.
This is wild, especially for the likes of Reed here. I mean, I'm looking at the cars ahead of him. Jesse Thornock, I mean, he pitted. He's got 29 laps on his stint, so he's still going to have to pit. Same for the car ahead of Mark Morales. I believe he's going to have to pit too. So this is going to get very, very, very interesting for Cody Reed at some point, because he may lose all draft help.
I mean, the pace that they're going right now, I mean, they're running just as slow as that other group, but also they're going slow, but still faster. It's up to almost 15 seconds the gap now.
The interesting thing is, where's Kanada come out? So Kanada's 37 back now. So, yeah, I mean, again, I feel like if you could have had a bigger group that was going full bore earlier, they could have built a way bigger gap, and you could have made the pitting actually faster. But we'll see how this all works out. This is going to be a wild one, folks. Hold on to your britches, because I don't know what's going to play out here.
I mean, once again, the pole time faster than third and fourth, their last lap. They are running 54.6 second lap times. Mauricio Millian and Ollie Fonseca just put down. Chris Ditz, I think he might have been just given the green light button to go, because now he's trying to stay attached to Jarrett Talmadge in the 27. That's trying to go full bore. Cody Reed up to 6.7 seconds is the gap. As the laps tick away, Reed's in a tough spot. He has been pushing. He has been going full bore this whole time, pushing drivers, leading the pack. He has not been in a lot of fuel-saving modes compared to the rest of the field, and he did not top off with that 1 lap to go marker. He's got an extra lap, less fuel than everyone else, but he's not showing any signs of that currently as this 88 that I think is banking on once those drivers recognize they've got to go. I mean, Zach, they've got to figure out the math. Either they race to catch up to Cody Reed, or they have to race between themselves, because if you don't go right now, Cody Reed might be too far ahead to catch up to.
Yeah, that's what's in my mind too, Sam. This is such a big gap that, and Reed running a 51.8 that last time by, they're still running really fast times. Like, if Reed makes it on this fuel, he's done some master work.
I mean, he's built up a gap where he can run just slower than lap times we're seeing from the lead pack, from this pack right now, and he would still have the lead if he ran that pace for 3 to 4 laps. So Cody, as long as he can keep this momentum for the next 12 laps, he would be okay. I mean, it's up to 20 seconds now is the difference. This is insane how massive this is becoming. And for Chris Ditz, who's decided he wants to go forward, he doesn't have enough drivers with him that he's still running slower than what pole time would be. for this race. This is coming down to, can you find partners that are all in the same mindset of, okay, it's time to go, let's bump draft, let's move forward together, because if you just take off by yourself, you're hurting yourself more than anything.
Yeah, this is so interesting to watch, because again, if the likes of Cody Reed makes it all the way here to the checker flag on fuel, everybody else got the calculation so wrong, man, because they just saved so much extra fuel if that's the case, because this man is 21 seconds ahead. That is almost impossible to do without saving extra fuel.
Here's another crazy thing. Joshua Kanata is just about 17 seconds away from the big group, and at the pace they're going, Kanata is catching up to them about a second each lap. So if they don't take off now and they wait, Kanata could be at the tail end of this group, and he has no worry about fuel for himself. His drivers are bouncing up and down, trying to get around one another. That's going to be Larry Yingling as well as Ryan Kelly to the outside. Thomas Green trying to get involved, and it looks like they might be finally given the green light. It's go time. 22 seconds is the gap. Can you run down and catch up to Cody Reed, or is it just this pack and where they run right now? Is it Cody have the fuel? Does he have the time? Or is it just going to be a duel between Stitz and the rest of this pack?
This is wild, you know, because I saw Larry Yingling, like you said, in there. Ryan Kelly jumped to the outside, immediately just go. Felt like maybe that was the green light for them, but they found the opening on the bottom, jumped back down. Same for Thomas Green here. So it's almost like playing possum of, hey, I want to go up there and get a little farther up in this group, so when I want to go, I have less people to go through. But this is, again, wild scenes here from Talladega, and what a chase race will do. All the strategies are up in the window.
Again, here is the scenario we're in right now. It is a 24-second gap between Cody Reed and this grouping that we see in our camera shot of Chris Stitz and as well Thomas Green. There is a major fuel saving run going on from second on back. Cody Reed, on the other hand, did not top off on fuel under our last caution. He decided to just go full bore takeoff mode and has not started to save yet for the 88. He is hoping that he has a big enough lead, so whenever he has to decide to start to slow down and save fuel, he's got the lead to hold back this field. But we're still waiting on when Stitz, Green, Fonseca, looking at their pace right now, they're still 3 seconds slower than their fastest lap. They are still in fuel saving mode with 13 laps to go.
That's what I'm saying. They are still, like you said, saving this much. It is, it's just going to be wild to see if they get this saved right, though, because again, the time that they're bleeding is just so much. It's now going to be upwards of 26 seconds. So, I mean, you look back to the last person in this group, Stephen Clapp, it's almost 30 seconds to the leader from him. So it is just such an interesting scenario that's playing out. And right now, you're seeing the likes of, look at Jared Talmadge on the outside all by himself, full throttle. He drives around all of these drivers like it's nothing, no draft help, anything. That is just a car by itself driving around the field.
Pole time was a 54.3 by Jared Talmadge. That last lap, Chris Stitz, a 54.6. That is a 3/10 slower lap time with 15, 16 drivers in a pack. This is wild stuff to watch. 12 laps to go. The gap is now almost up to 30 seconds. And Zach, I'm trying to figure out the math here. I mean, Cody Reed is about to build a big enough gap to where even if he goes into pit road, tops off on fuel, the minimum amount that he needs, he could be at the tail end of this pack by the time that he's done with this pit stop.
That's what I was working on mine. You know, Kanata, 6.4 second stop for him. Reed, it would be even less.
It would be a 3.
Yeah, exactly. He would need less fuel than even Kanata. So looking at 3 seconds save there. Also, Kanata at that point was only 17, I believe, 17 to 20 seconds ahead of this group here. Now Reed's 30 seconds ahead. That puts him about around right there, probably 5-6 seconds off this group. And if the gap continues to grow, at some point he will be in the window to pit. But I gotta imagine at some point these guys gotta pick up the pace.
What point though? I mean, they're still slower than the pole time. They're still slower. It's a 54.4 that last go around. Cody Reed at 52.3. It's now over 30 seconds the difference. If we move our camera over to Cody Reed, he's got some help. It's the lap cars. Jesse Thornock and Martin Morales have been the two drivers ahead of this 88 machine. When we look at their fuel numbers, they're going for the same route as this 88. They can push it as far as they want. Jesse Thornock's going to be a driver who will have to pit sooner than Reed. So the 14 is going to be the driver. Once he falls off, the pace will fall off as well. And once it becomes just 2 drivers, Martin's going to be in a tough spot. But Cody has been saving fuel now that he's finally fallen in line. I think he's recognized, okay, I can start saving fuel now. I'm still gaining time. It's now up to 30, almost 33 seconds the difference. And Zach, he's in the window now where he could pit and would be at the tail end of this pack.
I think the biggest thing, again, is just if he can get these guys to pit with him, that will help so much to help getting up to speed here. That is going to be so critical, because if he isn't able to just latch right onto, well, they're going so slow, actually. What am I talking about? We can throw everything out the window here. This is wild, folks.
Cody could drive by himself and be just as fast as this whole pack. I mean, that's how slow they're going at this moment. If you think back to the start of this race, Cody was driving by himself, went a lap down within 7 laps. Now, over 80 laps later, he can drive by himself and be one of the fastest drivers on track currently.
This is wild, folks. Everybody, you're going to want to see the end of this one, because this is, again, this is the wildest, probably fuel save strategy I've ever seen, because such an odd split. You know, we have so many drivers on this strategy here, saving the fuel this way, but, you know, Reed here just pulling out by himself like this is going to put such a interesting spin on the end of this. And even Kanata, I look at where he's at, he is literally only 5 seconds off the back of them. Yeah.
He was literally 17 seconds off just 8 laps ago. He's now within 5 seconds. Once he gets within the next 2 laps, I mean, he's going to be at the tail end of this lead group, and Kanata could be the favorite even if Cody Reed runs out of fuel.
That is wild. And we talked about Kanata making the strategy call to stay out, get the halfway bonus. I was talking about how that might ruin this race. It might have been the call that won him this race if he can end up playing this way.
As Cody Reed, still no signs of heading to pit road. The gap now up to 36 seconds. Cody Reed is okay to pit, and he might even be ahead of this group if he enters pit road now. Kanata, though, is flying. He can see the pack ahead of him. The 16 will not be in fuel-saving mode. When he catches up to them, he can bounce to the outside, pull right ahead of them, and the rest of the field's going to be having their hands up, questioning what have they done? Because here comes Kanata. He's got the draft of the pack. He's flying right now.
This is going to be huge. And guess what? He's got help, too. He's got the likes of Aaron Krolick right here with him. And, oh, looks like Steven Clapp going to head to pit road at the back of that group. So he doesn't feel like he's going to make it on fuel. He already comes down here with 7 to go. Let's see how this plays out.
Will Steven Clapp even have a chance to run down this group? Where do you go? As we see Joshua Kanata, Aaron Krolick, they've caught up. That last lap, Zach, the field did a 55-2. They're so slow. Kanata's full. Here we go. Into the top 10. The 16 about to be screaming his way into second place. Just about 13 laps ago, he pitted. He was in second. Now flying his way into the top 5, up to second. Joshua Kanata leads the charge, and Cody Reed into pit road. He's exiting pit road now. Kanata is trying to win this race. Who can keep up with the pace? Everyone else is given the green light. You gotta keep up with the 16. Can you do it with 6 laps to go? About to be 5. Cody Reed still ahead of the pack as he just gets off of pit road and about to get on the backstretch.
Oh, this is going to be close. Kanata will probably catch them because I think they're not going to be perfectly lined up yet. Reed just now going to be getting the help from the likes of Martin Morales down the middle of the backstretch. But right now, Kanata has to focus. It's 4 seconds. But also, here comes Jackson Harrison, the 08. He's pushing hard up here, too. This is going to play an interesting stake because if they get side by side, that's side drafting each other and slowing them down. But up front ahead of them, Reed still with a 3-second gap.
You've waited all this run. You've waited for the past 38 laps, and now it is go time. Cody Reed looking in his mirror, saying, please just push me along. Let me win this race from a massive penalty to finish out the regular season to now being passed. This is not what Reed needs, but he'll fall in line with going to be Jesse Thornick as well as Martin Morales. Now following in his suits, Jackson Anderson, Joshua Kanata, and the rest of the field. It's go time. You've got 16 drivers fighting for a chance to win the first race of the chase. 5 laps to go, and Zach Reed's chances of winning, they're still there, but now he's got to defend a whole group of drivers.
Wow, how is this all played out like this? And look at this. Right now here, they got right to the back bumper with the huge head of steam. No way to Anderson pulls out. But what does Talmadge do? He stays low. He's actually going to pull in the apron. I think he might pick this time. At 3 wide here, it's stacking up.
And Cody Reed going to be sent all by himself to the inside. They're going to be now almost stacked 4 wide. Reed looking for help from the lap drivers. It's going to be Mark Morales into Reed. Oh, go Reed around. Caution is out. And that will put us into overtime. Anderson leads, but Reed, all the strategy blows up in his face.
Oh, no. Just like that in a blink of an eye when all the racing started to turn up, the yellow flag has appeared, and man, has it ever caused an issue here? Because also, this is going to take it in overtime, like you said, Sam. We're going to see maybe pit stops happen for a few.
It's just the hard part of this run. You've got so many drivers that are a lap down, and it's going to be Martin Morales 2 laps down. Just gets put in a bad spot, bad bump by the 30 of by Ryan Kelly. That kind of forces the issue. But here's going to be Cody Reed. Cody's going to go down, trying to put a block on the 27, which Jared Talmadge is 2 laps down. They're trying to block the lap driver, trying to keep his position up front. But here's going to be Morales trying to stay where he's at, but a bad bump by Kelly right into the quarter panel that sends the 9 into Reed, and away they all go.
Man, this is going to set up interesting strategies here for everybody, of course, when it comes to fuels, everything about this, because this could get very, very interesting with the overtime caution. But look at this back bumper here from Martin Ross. He just sees everything scattered. He goes to the middle here. And I think what Ryan Kelly thought is the 9 was going to stay a little bit farther, maybe to the door down there closer to the inside, and just maybe thought that lane was going to open up with the head of steam they had. Unfortunately, that left rear bump comes and spins him down into the 88, who unfortunately is just an innocent bystander.
Well, for overtime, we have 3 attempts if needed, and the question now is going to loom for a lot of this field as we're on the backstretch under this replay. Drivers got to contemplate of, do we pit for fuel just in case we've got to serve another overtime attempt? I feel like for Cody Reed as well, for Joshua Kanata, they were in a spot where maybe they could stay out for a couple of more attempts, but their fuel was kind of marked for the end of the race. It wasn't really set up for overtime. But here's going to be the tough decision for the rest of the field. Do you pit or do you stay out? As we have ourselves 3 laps to go, expected to see the overtime turn over here in just the next couple of times they pass the line. But I mean, Zach, what a run, what a rush those 30 laps were that we got to watch. The building up by Cody Reed. I mean, the fact that he built such a lead that he had a 6-second gap over Kanata and the rest of the field was crazy. The fact that Kanata pitted and was about 20 seconds back and was able to lead the group is crazy. And Anderson into pit road, but a lot of others not following in suit.
Ryan Kelly, Larry Yingling, Joshua Kanata stay out here. Looks like also maybe the likes of, I believe, yes, Ben Kinney, I believe, is all. Yes, he is 2 laps down, and I think Cody Reed also stayed out. So should push Cody Reed up into the top 4. A little bit of damage on that right side, but we'll see how much fuel they packed in that car for that extra time in here. But man, this is it's going to be wild seats, man.
It certainly will be, as the field is exiting out of pit road. A lot of just fuel only. First drivers to take tires will be back in 12th and 13th. That's Joshua Stovall, Michael Miller, excuse me. Miller and Stovall, I mean, they've had their history of trying to help one another get into victory lane. The one on the 99, that's how Stovall got his first win in the ISRC Truck Series. Well, the one in the 99 found a little bit of magic. They're going to be deeper in the field, trying to make this run going forward. First driver with 4 tires, going to be Nolan Hicks back in 14th. And Zach, 16th on back. Heavy damage for Clapp, Garcia. Hate to see that for those drivers. Aaron Kralik as well. Ethan Dallaire trying to get some of his damage repair done. First driver 1 lap down, going to be Ethan Dallaire for himself, but Ryan Kelly, Larry Yingling, this is the fun part of the Trinity Racing League. We have the choose rule. We didn't really get to watch it last time because we were under commercial break, but they've changed where the choose line has been. Last week they tested out the apron and the race surface. That line that's usually the cutoff line to help you know what the difference is now our new choose rule. So the yellow line is where drivers have to decide. Do you stay low? Do you go high? And Zach, if your teammates, such as the 30 and the 67, where are you thinking about placing yourself here? Are you staying in line? Do you want to take both lanes? What do you think these drivers are thinking about as they're coming up to the choose?
You know, a lot of people will probably like to do that lead both lane strategy, but I'm more on the side of I want to be pushed to my teammates. So if I'm Larry Yingling, I'm in his shoes, I say, Ryan, whatever you want to do, you want high lane, you want the low lane, you pick it, I'm following you because I'm going to stay glued to you until this checker flag flies. You know, that's really the big way I think to get the fastest speed and the best finish overall for that group would be. But we'll see. I mean, they're coming to the choose now, and, you know, they'll choose right here, of course, at the apron. But they got to watch out here for these lap cars or these cars coming out of pit road. This is interesting.
As it will be a split decision. Cody Reed, oh, that's a late choice for himself. As a lot of drivers going to be going to the outside for themselves. Few going low. Honestly, kind of surprised. Not as many drivers I was expecting to go low. A lot more on the outside lane for themselves.
That's for sure. Yeah, a lot of people did line up on that outside. So it was the decision from Yingling to take the outside here and line up the lead both lanes. So they feel like this gives them the best opportunity as teammates to come out of it at least somewhat in a decent situation. But we'll see how this all shakes out, of course, Sam. I mean, this is going to be wild. I mean, I think the biggest thing for Kelly and Yingling's purpose and Reed, even in Canada, who have stayed out here, they do not want to see more than one green white checker. They want to see this one get done here because I think if you have another one, they might have to come down the pit road also.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, if this is your first time watching an iRacing green-white checkered race, otherwise known as overtime, here's how it breaks down. It is going to be a 2-lap shootout. And once we go green, if there is a caution thrown under this first lap before we take that final lap of the white flag being thrown, we will head into our second attempt at overtime. But if the white flag is thrown and the driver, all our lead drivers pass the line at that point, the gloves are off. Drivers will race and figure out who's going to be the lead driver. Whoever crosses the line first will be the driver that wins. Right now, a little bit of complications between Thomas Green and Jackson Anderson. Both drivers were on the outside of the yellow line, but Thomas Green thought the choose line was somewhere else. I think he thought he was going to be on the outside of the 08. The 08 was going to be on the inside. Not going to be the case. As they finally sort themselves out up front, it's Ryan Kelly, Larry Yingling, the teammates, front row. First attempt at overtime. Will we need a second, or will this be it for the first race of the chase of the Trinity Racing League, presented by Larry Arts Production? You're watching the wide open throttle supply 240. Not a lot of cautions have been thrown, but this action is ramped up to a point where we needed a couple of more extra laps. Kelly, Yingling, green flag is out of the air. Cody Reed right on the back bumper of that 30 machine, not allowing the teammates to get in line. They're going to have to control both lanes for themselves as we are green. And Zach, what a bizarre moment, but it looks to be the outside. It's a little bit more compact.
A little bit, like you said, a little bit more compact, closer on that outside, and the energy will be coming from there. So Yingling, big push from Kanata down the back straightaway. Will he drop low? Because Kanata was fading right there. I think the 16 thought about it for a moment, but we'll see down the back straightaway. The outside is gaining more momentum. The 08 of Anderson now almost cleared the inside also.
Larry Yingling, Joshua Kanata, Jackson Anderson, Thomas Green. All the way on the outside groove is going to be seen Joshua Stovall and Chris Ditz. Teammates finally going to get in line on the inside groove. Off the exit of turn number 4. Looking for the white flag is going to be the key. Yeah, all the other tracks, it would be at the tri-oval, but it's after the tri-oval. We're still 3 wide. Everyone's picked their lane. Anderson's trying to make it a little bit more frisky to be 4 wide. But across the line, it's your Morecast. One more lap to go here this evening. We only needed one attempt, and here we go, Zach. This is it. Who's winning the first race of the chase?
Big push from the inside here. Yingling was getting it from his teammate O'Kelly, but the outside has always had the better run down the back straightaway. The big shove from the 24, but it goes around.
Ollie goes around, Cody goes around, more contact going to be made. It's going to be the teammates still in line further on up. It's going to be Larry Yingling, Ryan Kelly in line. Here comes Thomas Green. It's also going to be seen Vincent Sora, the lap car of Jared Talmadge trying to find an opening. You can go down below that yellow line if you want to make a pass, but Thomas Green getting the push, getting the help. Sora trying to find an opening. It's just not there. The 3 machine is clear. On the outside is Stephen Clapp, but Green takes the win here at Talladega.
What a job by Thomas Green there. He had the push go away from him as the 24 Fonseca goes around off the nose of the 15 and into the 88 below, but it allowed that gap to be from the 15 to the 3 to give the big shove, and they had 3 cars really nose to tail up there. Yingling and Kelly fought their hardest, but just couldn't have enough as it looks like Anderson went to the middle of them.
I mean, Thomas Green, what a struggle this season has been for the 3 machine. He just needed a pick-me-up, you could say. He's only had 1 top 5 this season, 2 top 10s, and when the chase begins, the 3 grabs a win in his 2nd top 5 of the season. Congratulations to the 3 machine, getting all the help from Vincent Sora, attempting the passes, but it wasn't there. But Zach, I mean, you can see by this shot how liked Thomas Green is. Everyone's trying to give him a little bit of a congratulations throttle up next to him.
Yeah, everybody knows, of course, Thomas has been had a lot going on these past few weeks, and it's good to see him get a win, man. It's just good to see him back out here on track, and definitely one of the valued members here of our community.
As Thomas Green and that freaky fast broadcasting machine, man, he just needed something to go right, and it finally does tonight. He got the caution that was needed, found the help on the outside, and victory lane calls for the 3 machine. What a run. We just needed 1 overtime attempt. We had the drama of fuel at the end, but we needed some overtime. Those extra 2 laps helped us out. And for us, we will step away. When we come back, we have the post-race show. We'll talk to our top 3, Thomas Green, Larry Yingling, and Vincent Sora, to get their thoughts on this evening's race. Whoa, is it a wild one? We'll be back right after this.
All right, everybody, we're back here after the conclusion of tonight's race here at Talladega. What a wild one that was. We're going to have a chat here, though, with our race winner, the man of the hour here tonight, as he was able to take home his first victory of the season here. A long time coming, of course, and getting this one done. So let's have a chat with tonight's winner, Thomas Green. Hey, Thomas, is Zach up in the booth? You got a copy? Well, man, heck of a job here to get the victory tonight. It was a long time coming this season. First off, it was glad to have you back out on the track here with us tonight, man. But take us through that wild finish. It just seemed like the door opened up, and I mean, you took every opportunity you had there.
Probably one of the most wild wins in my career. I can't even tell you what happened because I've never been so focused for 2 laps. I thought we were kind of in a bad spot, restarting where we were and being able to get the pushes and miss that wreck on the backstretch. I thought we were for sure going to get hooked and we didn't, and then we made it through, and it was I still can't even believe it. I'm still shaking over it. You know, to come back after the last couple of weeks and everything I've been through with the house fire and trying to relocate the whole family and figuring stuff out and finally getting settled into an apartment, and this being the first race back. I mean, it's such an emotional win. I mean, that's insane. It's like a storybook ending, and it sucks that we weren't in the playoffs because that would have been awesome too. But I'm just happy to be out here at this point and to be able to, be fortunate enough to come out here and win races. I mean, that's just something super special to me, and it's been a while, and just happy, man.
Very much the same here, man. We're super happy and pumped for you because, again, yeah, I know you've been going through a lot, man, and we're all here with you for sure in the sim racing community, thinking about you, man. So, good, like I said, it was good to have you back out there tonight, get the victory. But what a wild race, too. First off, take us through the strategy, man, because that was wild. Y'all were going literally slower than the qualifying laps of the race. I mean, it had to feel very awkward.
Yeah, there's times in the race where I didn't know if we were gonna be able to have a chance to win it, or if Cody was gonna gap us by 50 seconds or a whole lap and lap us all, or I didn't know what was gonna go on. The strategy was weird because we were so close in the fuel. It kind of felt like a cup race where we all just had to bide our time and save the fuel and try to be there at the end. And I mean, we were really close. I think there was times where I was 2 laps over, and then I jumped up a bunch of spots to get into third place, and then I was immediately only half a lap over and trying to manage it from there. I didn't know what was going to happen, if we were going to run out, if we were going to make it. I had no idea, but it was interesting to say the least for the strategy. I wasn't sure who was going to do what and who was going to finish the race, who was going to have to pit or what. But I mean, yeah, it just it was a relief to see the caution come out, because then at least I know we could pit, get some fuel. We don't have to worry about it, and we can just go balls to the wall to the end.
Definitely could understand that feeling, man. Well, that was a hell of a race, but you got a couple more races left in the season. Of course, you know you wanted to be in the chase there in the playoffs, but how do you feel about what's the goals left for the rest of the season, trying to rack up a few more wins for yourself?
Absolutely. I told the whole group that I wanted to come back and just Connor Zilic the rest of the chase. So so far off to a good start, but I got a lot to live up to there.
Definitely, I think you got the opportunity to do it. We've seen how good you are before, Thomas. So, man, again, congrats on the win. And before we let you out of here to go celebrate this thing, anybody want to go send a shout out to?
Huge shout out to you guys for putting on the broadcast. Always love watching it back and watching it during the race. I always have you guys tuned in during the race. And just a huge shout out to the whole community. I mean, all of the love and support over the last couple of weeks has meant the absolute world to me. And I can't thank everyone enough for reaching out, all the nice messages, and yeah, I'm just so appreciative to be a part of this community and to have all you guys. From the bottom of my heart, I just want to say thank you to everybody who's helped out along the way or has sent a message and shown their love, and I really do appreciate that. And I just want to say a huge shout out to my girlfriend Anna for all the love and support. She means the world to me, and to have her watching these races, it's just so special to me. And big shout out to my teammates as well for helping me out there. And yeah, just shout out to everyone for everything they've been helping me through recently. I really do appreciate it.
Thomas, like you said, man, everybody here is a big family and definitely want to we always keeping you in our thoughts and prayers, man. So again, congrats on this win. And if, like you said, with all the messages, the same goes out for us here at Freaky Fast. If you need anything, we love you sporting the colors here, always at Freaky Fast too, and doing well with them. So again, thank you, man, and you go cherish this one and have a good night.
You too, guys. Thank you so much.
All right, there, folks. You heard it from tonight's race winner, Thomas Green. Again, storybook ending there for him. I love seeing that too. I mean, that man's been through a lot. We know how real life comes before sim racing, and he has definitely had a lot to go through, and it's just great to have him back here racing with us and able to get a victory. I mean, that dude is a heck of a race car driver. So again, congrats to him, and I'm sure we'll see some more great runs from him in the rest of this chase, even though he's not a part of those chase drivers. But now we move on to second place. Your interviews tonight is the 67 was the man leading with the white flag, Larry Yingling, but just couldn't come home first, but probably happy to start his chase off in the right way. Hey, Larry, it's Zach up in the booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir.
Well, buddy, I tell you what, great way to start your chase off. I know you probably want to be in victory lane trying to get that victory, but I'm sure second place has still got to feel good after all that went through in that race.
Yeah, I'll definitely take it. For a while, I thought I was pretty sure the whole pack I was in that last long run was all saving fuel. So I was thinking all three of my guys and me were just 10th, 11th, and 12th, and luckily that caution came out. And I originally had Ryan and I pitting, then I switched the call off of 4 before pits to stay out just to keep track position, and definitely, luckily, stay good for us.
Definitely was a wild of decisions there being made. I mean, take us through the strategy. It seemed like drivers were trying to make that headroom on the fuel to go, and then of course we had the likes of Cody Reed who was just going full bore. And I mean, with the gaps that were forming, and we had the likes of Kanata come by on brand new tires. What was all going through y'all's mind? I'm sure that had to be a whirlwind of trying to drive the car and manage everything.
Yeah, I was obviously saving fuel, but I don't know what some people ahead were doing, just checking up and sideways, and I don't know. We were all supposed to be saving fuel. Then I think a few were going hard at the beginning. Then they realized what my pack was doing, and they backed off a bunch, and that pack didn't even think about passing them, and we just lost so much ground. But luckily, that alone saved us so much fuel. By the time when Cody and Kanata came out of the pits and same pack, I was good to go on fuel, and so was Ryan and a few others. So it still would have been an interesting race.
Yeah, that was definitely the big thing we were running through our minds to see who was good, who to battle with who. But man, definitely a wild one. But we got some great races coming up in this chase, Larry. You started off strong here tonight with a second place finish, probably the most race with a chance to go wrong, I'd say, of all the chase races for everybody. How does that feel to start off strong and then knowing we got some good intermediate tracks where you've ran good this season?
Oh, it feels great. I didn't even think for a second about championship until I finished Talladega and see where I was, and I'm right there. Some mountain halves I have a lot of speed, some I didn't. There's a different thing I'm going to do next week to see if it helps. And I love Charlotte, so hopefully I get a good result for myself.
Well, Larry, we'll be watching right here at Freaky Fast Broadcasting as you take it to Charlotte next week. But before we let you get out of there and get prepared for Charlotte, anybody want to send a shout out doing that 67?
All my teammates this race, Ryan Kelly and Chris Stitz. And shout out to my sponsors, Sim Precision Prints, for your 3D printing needs. And shout out to you guys for broadcasts, and looking forward to next week.
All right, Larry Yingling, you heard it from there for himself first, folks. We'll catch him next week at Charlotte. You have a good night, Larry.
Thank you, sir.
All right, that was Larry Yingling, our third place man. Let's go on and our second place driver. Let's drop down to our third place driver now, Vincent Soares. He was coming in here with the points lead tonight. I'm sure he'll be happy to believe here in the third place position. Hey, Vincent, Zach up in the booth. You got a copy?
I hear you.
Well, buddy, I tell you what, man, you came in here tonight, the points leader, and we've seen in the past, Talladega can be a place where a points leader can go into and get caught up in some mess, and it just really kind of spirals their chase race or their chase out. How does it feel to come out here third and knowing that you came in here with the points lead, you're going to leave with the points lead?
Yeah, it feels really good. This was definitely the one I had circled on the calendar that, I was nervous for. There's no telling what can happen coming into these races. And I felt really good. Just, on my ability to control lanes and do what I needed to do. I think I showed that pretty early. I was able to lead a bunch of laps up at the front and control the lines pretty well. Kind of like I was able to do at Daytona, but then I realized pretty quick it was going to be a fuel mileage deal, and that wasn't very fun to just kind of sit there and ride half throttle. But yeah, I don't know. I'm glad that we're leaving with a 6 or however many point gap that we have. But obviously I'd love a little bit more of a cushion. Super happy for Tom. It was really nerve-wracking there at the end. I was blinking red all the way down the backstretch and into 3 and 4, but I was so committed to pushing him. I wasn't going to leave his back bumper. So yeah, shout out to him. Like you said, glad I can leave with a little bit of a cushion, and I just need to move on and have 4 perfect weeks.
Definitely looking forward to the next weeks. But man, I mean, take us through tonight's strategy, because like you said, it wasn't very fun to run around half throttle, but how dynamic was it throughout the race there of going, okay, we're going to save, we're not going to, because it seemed like there was a couple split different strategies, and it seemed like they all kind of came out very even there at the end until we got that caution.
Yeah, I was just full saving, and I had like 2 laps to the good there right before that yellow came out. I actually like just started pushing because I saw everyone get a little bit racy. But yeah, my strategy was just to ride, damage control. I'd rather finish in like 4th or 5th than finish wrecked. Obviously, like I feel like I have been so many times at a place like Talladega. So yeah, it would have been interesting to see how that would have played out if it would have went green. I don't know. I had a pretty big gap to the main pack, but they would have been side drafting so hard. I feel like I definitely would have caught them, but I don't think any of us minded to see that yellow. I think it definitely made it the show that the fans wanted to see and what most of us wanted to see. So yeah, just super happy to come away with a P3, and I just need to execute from here.
Definitely was an exciting show from our standpoint, and a good ending there for sure with the storybook ending for Thomas Green there. But now we head into the final 4 races, Vinny. Like you said, you got the points lead, and it continued through tonight. But you got some really good tracks coming up for yourself. Which one do you feel the most confident? Of course, with Charlotte, Richmond, Auto Club, and Vegas. What do you feel the most confident? Which one do you think you're going to need to improve a little bit on to go and bring this championship?
Yeah, I feel really confident in Richmond. That's been a really good track for me in the past and in other leagues. I guess the one that I'm a little bit nervous for is probably Auto Club, just because I feel like it can go so many ways. I think I've had really good pace at Auto Club in a lot of other races, but I don't know. It kind of seems like something always just it can't fall my way at the end. I get involved in an accident, or I'm just in the wrong spot. So yeah, definitely some good tracks for me. Confidence wise, I think I know my ability. I can run really well there, but there's a lot of unknowns. I know everybody's going to be racing hard, and the points are going to be tight all the way to the end. So I don't think I'll have a chance to breathe, and I bet it's going to be the same for everybody else. So yeah, I just need to be perfect. I need to execute in every way possible, and hopefully I'll get the title.
Definitely is going to be a fun one to watch for us up at the booth, and I'm sure a great battle out there for you on track, Vincent. But before we let you get out of here and go get prepared for the final 4 weeks here at Trinity's Racing League, anybody wants to shout out to you for a nice race, man?
Yeah, definitely. First off, Tom Green. Yeah, he's just a standout guy. He's the nicest guy ever. One of my great teammates. One of my great friends, and he's had a really difficult month, really last couple of months, and hasn't been able to race the last like 4 or 5 races or more. And to come back and win this race, it's so awesome. So I'm just so happy for him. He deserves this more than anybody. So yeah, hopefully he can carry that momentum and maybe win a couple more here. Shout out to Danny Cochran. He was on the box for me tonight, calling the lines moving and everything. So really appreciate him. Shout out to you guys for broadcasting, and then the admins over here that make it possible.
Alrighty, well, there you heard it from Vince Sora. Congrats on your 3rd place finish here tonight, Vinny, and we'll catch you at Charlotte next week.
Thanks, guys. Have a good one.
All right, that was your 3rd place finisher here tonight of Vincent Sora, and that closes out our post-race interviews here from Talladega. And man, what a great set of interviews that was. But now I hand it back up to our main man here at Freaky Fast, Sam Dyer.
Yeah, a lot of up and downs, but it was Thomas Green taking the victory here tonight. What a bizarre one from all the different strategies. It was great to see all the drivers come together and have, like we said, all those different strategies come at such a critical point at the end of this race. But that late race caution set us up for overtime, where we see our unofficial results. Thomas Green taking the victory, Larry Yingling taking 2nd, Vincent Sora 3rd. Thank you so much to those drivers joining us over the booth for interviews. Ryan Kelly coming away 4th, Jackson Anderson taking 5th. Stephen Clapp, I talked about how this guy just knows how to finish at the end. Does it once again with a 6th place finish. Chris Ditz, 7th. 8th, we found Joshua Stovall. 9th is Michael Miller, and Nolan Hicks finishing out our top 10. I mean, Zach, shocked to see those drivers and where they finish, but that's what Talladega brings. It's the wild card of who can steal it at the end.
It really is, man. And I mean, like you said, Stephen Clapp, heck of a job by him to finish 6th. At one point, it was not looking well for him. But as you look through the list, I think the likes of Cody Reed there, you got to feel for him. Same for Ali Fonseca. They were right in the mix coming down to the end. Fortunately, involved in that wreck that brought out not only the yellow there, but also the one later in the back straightaway. So that really caught them up there on that last run. But it was a wild night, and probably one of the worst finishes I'd say of the night was for Jared Talmadge, our 2nd place man of points. He's going to come out here 21st, Sam. So that's a huge loss for him when it comes to points.
Yeah, big loss for him. Also, Justin Smith all the way down in 25th, the lowest finisher of those that showed up there in the chase. Cedric Hunter, again, the lowest because he did not show up for tonight's race. For some of these drivers, it's really, like Larry said, he kind of had to see what the points were going to look like after this race was over. Well, it looks pretty stable that there's 2 front runners. Vincent Sora, still your points leader after tonight. Larry Yingling, 6 points out after this evening. Jackson Anderson, 14 points back. Joshua Kanata, 15 points back. Same going to be for Joshua Stovall. So there's some points to be grabbed. There's some drivers that are close. Stephen Clapp, even 16 points back. So we'll see how those drivers can recover next week at Charlotte, where we're going to see really the drivers that have been the top dogs all season long. They've got to continue that, carry the momentum into next week, as that is going to be a fun one to watch. You don't want to wait for it. And I know it's a couple of weeks out, but WSSR schedule is out. We are back. Going to be October 29th. Excited for the new season. Crazy to say that it's, just a few weeks away from a new season, but Zach, excited to see when WSSR is officially back.
Oh yeah, for sure. I'm super excited. We've been holding some recruitment races here. We held one last Wednesday, so we'll also do it again this Wednesday. So here on the 15th, if anybody's out there and wants to race some Gen 4 cars and test out their skills at against some of the WSSR guys that race on Wednesday night here at Freaky Fast, then definitely come out and enjoy those races. But yeah, we're closing down to almost 2 weeks away, so it's crazy to say that before the season starts, and it's gonna be something different for sure. The new Gen 4 car that iRacing's brought, and I'm excited to see what kind of show we can put on, because I feel like last season some of the finishes we had were so excellent that it was tough to go away from that next-gen car. But I think everybody knows we've been with it for about 3 seasons now, and sometimes you just need a little something new to shake things up, right?
Hey, Monday nights have shaken up to us running the Xfinity cars, and now we'll be going back in the past to the Gen 4s on Wednesday nights. It's a fun range to be around. But for tonight, I want to say thank you to everyone that was with us. I know chat was exploding when it was the fuel mileage run, and then once we entered that overtime attempt number 1, it was fun to see everyone out there chatting and rooting for your favorite drivers. But for us this evening, for myself, Sam Dyer, for Robert Moyer Jr., and for Zach Hall, thank you so much for joining with us here tonight on your Monday evening, watching the Trinity Racing League presented by Larry Arts Production. For the first race of the chase, it was a wild one, but your winner of the wide open throttle supply 240 goes the 3 machine of Thomas Green. We also want to say thank you to Blazing Fast TV for being our Pole Sitter Award sponsor, as well as our grid sponsor being Orchid Ink Tattoo Studios, our halfway point sponsor being SG_Racing, our fastest lap sponsor being Hot Lap Designs, which are our fastest lap goes to Joshua Kanata this evening. We also want to say thank you to Morecast for being our White Flag sponsor, and Cody Reed for being our Lucky Dog sponsor for the Lucky Cod. For tonight, it was a pleasure to give you all the calls. It was wild, but this is only the beginning. The first race of 5, and it journey only changes up even more heading into next week. You don't want to miss it. It's the track that all the drivers know so well. If you've got iRacing, you've got this track. It's Charlotte. Who will step up and try to challenge Vincent Sora, or does he solidify himself as the favorite to win the first season of the Trinity Racing League? You'll have to find out next Monday night for our next Freaky Fast broadcast.